How you guys doing tonight? Alright, so, let's jam. I kind of want to see through how our last league was going. It's not great at all, like... And I'm not even going to say something like, oh, it was the matchups, or oh, it was this, or oh, it was that. I think it literally was just the build we decided to go with doesn't have all the tools that the new version does, and... I'm excited for where the new version is going to take us. There's some new tech that we're testing, some new suggestions. I'm testing some cards of my own to see how they work or don't work. I scared you because I popped in 10 seconds too early. Sorry, Pegfear. Why? Because I turned on the camera a little too soon? I'm sorry. Unexpected. Sorry. I didn't think about that. That means I wasn't thinking about you, your health, your well-being. What do you guys think of this version? I'm excited. Somebody wanted me to test Ruined Halos. And I was like, sure. I'll test a couple Ruined Halo. See how they like them. Astrotold's dope. I would agree with that assessment. We're actually going to test 3. So the version I have in the queue right now has a full playset. We're also testing one of Dismember. There should also be a Watery Grave in the mana base, I think. I think there was a Miser's Watery Grave. I'm almost positive that there's a Miser's Watery Grave in this version. So that was the version that was embracing the Black Splash a little bit more. There we go. Oh, Kitchen Finks. We played against this guy. Oh shoot, what was he on? I was like, the name Kitchen Finks does not fit you at all, my friend. I think he was on Shadow. He must not be having a good run if he's up against us. No, he's 0-0. He's 0-0. We're the one that's 0-2. Well, for whatever it is, I know this is an opponent we played just the other day. Maybe even last stream. What does the trade routes do? Everything. It's actually, I wouldn't say that it's the deck's build-around card, Pegfear, but it comes close. I'd say it's second to Astrotold, that's why I'm running fewer copies. Actually, this version is only running 1. My new version is going to be running 2. Alright, I think I do keep this hand. Are you asking, like, what does trade routes do for this deck, or are you asking what does the card actually do? Because you can ask MTGBot to show you what the card text is. It has 2 abilities, both of which we use in this deck. We use both abilities in my deck. Oh, I think he was on Blue Red Control, actually. I think it was a really grindy game. If I remember. Oh no, maybe this was the guy that was on Thopter Sword. Yeah, so we use both sides of the trade routes in this deck. We use it to bounce and return lands that, for example, Tolaria West is an example of a land that we need to return to our hands to be able to use. What else? It's protection for Colonnade. We have value engines, like we're testing Depths, we're testing Bog, we're testing something like Crossroads. There are other synergies that are maybe a little more subtle. They're pretty unique effects to Modern, I would agree with that assessment. I think I am going to have to play that as a land drop, and so hopefully we get to pick that Tolaria West back up in our late game. Now, I've included a few more ways to do it in the new version. I've included maybe a second trade routes. I'm not sure I'm going to run as many as 2, but things like Deprive or trade routes are ways to pick back up lands that you actually want to do something with out of your hand, like, oh, okay. That's right, this is guy on the Jeskai Burn deck. That's right, that's what Kitchen Finks is playing. Okay. Yeah, he's like on a Jeskai Burn. This hand's not great against that then. It's okay, but a little worried. Don't remember him having any shadow effects. We could get this Blessed Alliance toasted. And then we get to maybe stick something the next turn. Ooh, but I have to shock myself here so that we can still Cryptic. Rough. He's gonna let it go. I'm okay with it. Yeah, cool. So we've got Cryptic up to protect our Ancestral. And that's what I'm gonna do. That's fine. Yeah, I remember this guy. He was like a burn-heavy Jeskai control. And I think we beat him just with the sheer card advantage of Ancestral. Even with Cryptic here, I don't know if we're going to resolve our Ancestral. How's it going, Balls? Good to see you, Paul. Looks like a Cryptic. Could be a Logic Knot. No, okay, it's Cryptic. I was thinking it might be Logic Knot because he was pausing for a moment. Okay, it is a Logic Knot. Fair enough. I still counter. We can stick Gideon or we can stick Jace. Wow, that's a lot of land we just drew. That's a problem. It might be correct to stick Jace and start drawing cards. Not that Gideon's bad, it's just... it's hard to say which of the two... Oh, I can't stick either yet. Excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. So it's land drop go, we'll bin this other Seachrome. Getting ahead of myself, stream. Getting a little ahead of myself. Shock himself. Rev? Okay. Well, I draw 3, you draw 3, he, she, we draw 3. Okay. Well, now I get to stick some cards. I think it's Jace, and it might not be. Are there any huge advantages to Gideon over Jace in this situation? If I had Pact of Negation, there would be. I think I stick Jace and draw before I even decide what I'm doing with my mana. Let's go Jace and draw. Well, that's not gonna cut it. I'll take a Bajuka Bog. I'd rather have Bajuka Bog over Colonnade at this point against my opponent. His hand's probably chock full of Snapcasters. Yes, I'd love to exile Rev, Serum, Logic Knot, Electrolyze. I know he's used the first Snapcaster, there's still 3 more. They run a playset in Jeskai Control. I should know, I used to play it for years. Yeah, give me the Bajuka Bog. Give me that Bog. That's what I thought. Thank you. He probably toasts Jace, and that's fine. That happens. I think it's the Gideons that we fight over, trying to make a win condition out of. I think we let him kill the Jace. Oh, Gideon. That's an issue. Okay. Huh. Well, I can Gideon with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can Gideon with Cryptic behind him. I think that's big game, right? Like white, white. And then blue, blue, blue. Yeah. Yes. So there's a Colonnade. I should play the Ghost Quarter. Well, here's the issue. If I Gideon plus the Ghost... if I Gideon plus his Gideon Jura... Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yes. We'll play out the Ghost Quarter. Oh, did I just punt? Actually, I think I needed to play the plains, didn't I? White, white, colorless. No, colorless. We're gonna leave the Ghost Quarter up. Yeah. Gideon this way. Jace plus. Gideon on his Gideon. So he doesn't get any ideas. It's good balls. Maybe pass it back with the Cryptic / Ghost Quarter. The Ghost Quarter honestly should deter him from wanting to attack with the Colonnade anyway. I don't really want to try to Cryptic here. Okay. This is where we would Cryptic if we were to Cryptic the Gideon. Turn this permanent. How's it going, Sage? Yeah, it's good, Paul. It's good to see you. I always try to. I always try to think ahead. He probably fights here. Gideon on Gideon. If I get to untap with this Gideon, I'll Gideon ultimate. Well, I'll transmute up a Pact of Negation first, and then I'll Gideon ultimate. Alright. Path, that makes things easier as well. So let's Jace first, because we might just draw the Pact of Negation naturally. This version has multiple. Nope. Dismember Path, Ancestral. Okay. I'll take the Ancestral. Transmute. Let's go get that Pact of Negation, shall we? Then we're gonna ultimate Gideon. And then I need to shock myself, because we don't have triple blue. Nah, we shouldn't suspend the Ancestral here, because then I don't have Cryptic up. I want Cryptic up plus the Ghost Quarter / Path / Pact of Negation. Let's just send it back. This is a 7. I really do. I don't think I'm supposed to suspend this Ancestral because we have plays for all of our mana. This is us maybe winning the game without Acertol. We need to see if we can win games without that card. It's the thing that makes our deck really busted, but we need to be able to win games without it consistently. I assume he's going to try to resolve Gideon. No? Okay. I'm okay with this. It's a suspicious looking Colonnade. Now we sit go. We've got Snap Negation. It's very powerful. Yeah, Snap Negation. I should have suspended the Ancestral right there. I was trying to see if we'd spike an Acertol, and we did. I'm not saying that that was the right play, but sometimes you get rewarded. He knows about the Ancestral in my hand. He may fight here. Is this where you want to fight, buddy? I want a girl. Is this where you want to fight? I think this is worth it. Because we get to Ancestral and we get to make a land drop. Most likely we'll hit land drop. It's even worse casting Visions, we'll have to discard a hand size. Yeah, there's things I want to discard. Like, I don't really want to be waterlogged with, like, a Dismember, you know? We'll keep the extra Gideon. I don't really want a Wrath of God either. Like, we're probably discarding this Wrath of God, to be honest. I think it's worth drawing 3, Sage. Like, we're trying to make a land drop. We're trying to, I don't think I'm supposed to attack with the Gideon here, but it might be one of my good windows to do so. Gideon's still dead to double bolt as is. Why don't we go for it? And if he has Path, we can fight it with Pact. But then we have a lot less defenses the next turn. I think we're just waiting him out. You know, we're gonna start to accrue a lot of mana advantage over the Acertol and making land drops. Why don't we just plus Gideon, go for the long game? I'm only behind my opponent by a little bit less than a minute on clock. Yeah, let's pitch the Wrath. I don't think what you're saying is incorrect, Sage Phoenix. We could deck. We have fewer cards than my opponent. He's got 33. I have 29 left. Ghost Quarter. Well, there goes my Colonnade beatdown plan. Okay, Gideon. We packed. I assume he has a cryptic. I'm assuming he has something behind this. I'm still gonna fight, though. No, I don't fight. It's almost guaranteed that he has, like, the Mana Lake or even Spell Snare here. It's not worth fighting, and we can just bounce this Gideon next turn, and then we have the Snap Pact of Negation behind it. At least I exchanged my Pact with one of the Cryptics in his hand. Well, I didn't really exchange because he draws a card, but not worried about decking. Well, no, we don't care about that. Like, we have cards to discard in this matchup that we don't want. That like, Wrath is one of them. I don't even think I'm running Wrath in the next version of this deck. Alright, do we want to just go for Chase Ultimate? Is that a way for us to win this game? I wonder if this version of... hang on, let me check our sideboard. Should tell me if we have the main board Big Gideon or not. I don't. And Elspeth's also on the board. Okay. Yeah, Chase Ultimate would just grab something nice from his deck and maybe give us a Colonnade. That's not really all that exciting. I think I am supposed to Jace draw. We'll Jace draw. Cast out. There you go. That'll work on the Gideon. So we don't have to bounce and try to counter it on the way back down, which is... oh, jeez. That's a fun opponent. Just gave me all the cards. Give me all of the cards. Maybe he's just trying to deck us? That's the only... like, if that was a conscious decision, that's what he's trying to do. And we should be aware of what he's thinking. Just gonna do it now. Obviously this has flash and we could wait. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to do if that's what he's... you know, that's what's going on. Alright, we need to beat him down then. Is he Jeskai controlled Nahiri? I think he's just Jeskai Burn. We played against this guy like yesterday. Path? No path? No path. Okay. Alright, well I'll probably discard a Dismember. Probably just hit F6. Yeah, I remember him having Think Twice in his deck, that's right. And I remember him having like a butt ton of Rest in Pieces post-board. I remember this matchup. I remember playing specifically this Jeskai play. I remember his name, Kitchen Finks. Wasn't this just last stream we played against this guy? And I'm pretty sure he had like a ton of Rest in Pieces, like 3 of them in his sideboard. At least 2. He had at least 2. We have Halimar Depths. We shouldn't, in our deck, we shouldn't crack this flooded strand. Hey, there's the trade routes. Cool, combo time. I can return this, oh. Yeah, I can return this. Let's just pay for it, because we might have something busted to do with the Essertold. We'll return the Tolaria West to our hand. And then maybe I'll just transmute immediately? Or maybe we wait. Do we wait? Let's plus our Jace. We got a lot of things on the table to do. I'm going to have to adjust to that. You know, there's a lot of things on the table to do. Guess I will crack this because we didn't draw the Halimar Depths. There is a Halimar Depths in the deck. Yeah, this version has the one of Watergrave. I'm not going to be running that in the future version, but it might be something we consider again in the future. It's just the next version I've already brewed up isn't going to run. Let's go ahead and grab actually the Pact of Negation so we can keep jamming in with this Gideon without too much fear. We have the backup Gideon in our hand though. I have one more Gideon of the Trials in the deck. So I think we're okay to swing. I don't know. I mean, look at this. There's a lot going on over there. He's got 5 cards. Alright, Gideon. Let's get in there. That's confidence right there. And I'm just like, oh, let's go. Fully open mana for my Jeskai opponent. What you got? Path. That's pretty good. He might also have a Spell Snare. So what do we want to fight over this with? Why don't we try to fight with a Snapcaster first? Let's try to fight with a Snapcaster first. What are the other cards in your hand, my friend? Alright, Snap, Pact of Negation. Awesome synergy when you have a Gideon emblem, but I have to have the Gideon has to stay. And if we lose this fight, I should resolve the other Gideon. and plus it. Alright, what do you think of new Bolus? Freaking hype for Bolus. Oh yeah? Oh yeah, Paul? Another path. I need to be careful that I don't go double pack the negation though if he does manage to win this fight and I can't resolve the other Gideon. That would be bad. Like, I don't really want to play into the soft permission that's obviously in my opponent's hand. We might just chill here. Now, remember, if I don't re-resolve Gideon, that's the risk of attacking with him so soon. Maybe I should have waited to build a more card advantage from the Jace. So I don't really want to take a turn off, like, paying for pack next turn would be, we'd be tapped down to this extent of our mana. If I go balls deep here and do the other pact negation, our first pact is already resolved, so there's already going to be a trigger whether or not Gideon's still on the table. It could Cryptic. It probably plays into a mana leak. I think we let this go. And it sucks, but I think that's the right call. It does suck. I think he was considering ghost courting my Bajuka Bog there. Go ahead and bog away some of these cards. He'll probably think twice, at least. Craxus flooded. Okay. Always go deep. Nah, I think we made the right call. Like next turn we get to cast the Gideon off the Acertold, unless we draw like something else that's worth. I need my Crucible so we can do the full combo, right? I can get back the Tolaria Westus in my graveyard and then trade routes it back into my hand and then transmute up an Ancestral. We do silly, wonderful things like that all the time. I did remember to plus my Jace, in fairness. Surprised that Jace has not met with a Lightning Bolt. I mean, maybe that's what my opponent's thinking is that's the way he wins, is he just builds up 11 points of burn. Maybe that's what he's sitting, like maybe that's what he's, you know, like, sandbagging over there. It's just a bunch of burn spells. I have no idea. Remind me if we do nothing with our mana to maybe return the Bajuka Bog. Maybe. No, I guess we won't. Depends on what he does. Pegfear, does that answer your question? Like, you see how the trade routes is kind of affecting this game. I wish we had more of our utility lands besides. The only utility land that we found has been the Bajuka Bog. We're adding more utility lands to the next version. Oh, man. Colonnade. Colonnade is getting in there. Huh. I should have waited till he went to begin combat, actually, and actually attack, because he might put all his mana into animating the other Colonnade. That would mean he's tapped out fully. My Snapcaster, sure. Okay. I don't really want to get these back. Let's not return the... So do you have to pay for this pact because there isn't a Gideon on the table? This way. Actually, white's more important because we have the Gideon, right? But we have a Cryptic in our hand. Just step this way. I know, we ideally didn't want to have to pay for, oh geez, an Ancestral? Maybe just do that instead. What's left to draw, I guess? But we kind of have a lot of the impactful counterspells in our hand already. We have a lot of the impactful stuff going on already in our hand. I think this is our window to resolve the Gideon. Yeah, this is like our window. I might just cast him off the Acertold. Gideon plus... We already have the emblem. Let's hit one of these Colonnades. Let's say go. Seems sweet. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know if we're going to run one or two, though, Pegfear. Like, the new version I'm brewing up might have two. You haven't seen the most busted thing that we drew with the trade routes. The most broken thing that I've done with the trade routes involves the restore balance. If you can figure out that one, so imagine a board state of trade routes, a restore balance in our hand, and an Acertold. Imagine what that actually looks like, because that's actually the reason the trade routes is truly in the deck. To be honest with you, Pegfear, we've just added some kind of weird lands you don't normally see in blue-white to make them okay when you don't have the restore balance combo. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's foretold this. Deck seems sweet. Foretold and Ancestral is really good. It is good, Sam. It is good. I didn't even need to do it there, though, because we still had like a lot of gas in our hand. I may next turn gas up again with another Ancestral. I have games where we use all 4 Ancestrals, and they still come down close. It's funny. But the rest of the deck is getting stronger. We're working on that aspect. Like, that's something that I have taken as a critique to the deck that I need to work on. Okay, now we've got Astrotold for Cryptic. But I think I still get this other Astrotold out there. I guess I could have Ancestral. Well, no, I still can off this other one. Let's cast it with Foretold. We need to end the game soon, though, because we are going to deck. I have 17 cards left. Oh, there's our Colonnade. Hey, there you are. Crucible? Oh, baby. We have the full combo. I can return the Talaria West. Yeah, okay. This will be fun. I shouldn't have played the Colonnade. We had Ghost Quarter Crucible. Hey, let it go. Not ready to fight with our Gideon yet. I think I'm still just plus my walkers. I think we'll start to quarter him off his white sources. Then we can probably attack. We're down 3 minutes though in time, so that's significant. Is this locked in? No, Sam, it's not locked in. I'm not quite 100%. I did it again. Alright, well, hold up. Let me show you a really cool synergy that exists in the deck that you might not think about with the trade routes, but I have thought about. Let me show you this. We're going Gideon. Let's do it. Let's do it, boys. What you got, opponent? Path. Cryptic. Greedy, you want to use Lotus Bloom? Watch this. Nice Ghost Quarter, opponent. I guess you could have let him kill the Colonnade because I had the Crucible as well. I could have just done that. That's very true. That's very true. Restore balance. Alright, I can take him off all his lands. Do you guys want to see that synergy? We have the restore balance with the Pact the Negation backup in our hand. I did tell you that I wanted to show you that synergy, didn't I? Did tell you I wanted to do that. I did want to show you that synergy. Let's remember to Jace. Type says, no shuffling. Alright, I'll put him down. Honestly, it helps me concentrate, but I really don't do it to piss anybody off in chat. It's really just it helps. Alright, do you guys want to see something really, really cool? Watch this. Hang on. I gotta see if there's anything... Okay, so there is a Snapcaster Mage left in the deck. That's the last thing we really want. Alright, let's grab the depths. Is it coming up? Okay, there's the Snap. So, the Snap is the last piece of permission I have in this list. We could Jace draw into it so we have it now. And then I'll go for it. I'll go for the Restore Balance combo next turn. I'll show you guys how it works. Or doesn't work. We need I mean, we usually don't do it against permissive decks. I know he's hoping we just deck. Is he giving us all three of these things? It's a suspicious looking Sulfur Falls. Your move, opponent. I think it's a me thing because I never hear others complain about it. Well, I'm sorry, typical Chaz. Maybe you're not the typical Chaz, though. Think about it. Maybe you're not typical. Just messing with you, friend. Alright, so here we go. So I'm going to return all my lands to my hand. You guys are going to be so freaked out by this. It's wonderful. Alright. Okay. This takes a little while, but... I'm putting him... I'm doing Get-In is what I'm doing. Now, we normally can't do this against a blue-eye red player because they have, well, permission. But let's just go for it. I want to see if this is something that I could resolve against a blue-eye red player. What's up, Gobble Guy? This music's perfect for what's about to happen. You guys are about to see modern Armageddon at its finest. Modern Get-In. I'm good. Just casually modern Armageddoning my opponent. Just don't worry about it. Don't even sweat it. Just casually doing casual modern things in the competitive league. Typical BrewSpy. Alright, pick up all my lands. Cast this card. Oops. Opponent's like, what is he doing? All this just to get style points, really. I mean, I guess at the tournament I would just pick up all my lands and try to do this, for sure. That's why Trade Routes is in the deck, Peg Fear, if you're wondering. That's why that card's in the deck, so I can do... Whoop! Kaboom! Kaboom! Boom goes the dynamite! Restore balance! What? Crazy! Crazy, crazy! I didn't blow up any of my own lands, Goblin Guy. I didn't blow up my own lands. Just blew up his. We don't need lands where we're going, baby. Astertold's gonna cast my spells for the rest of this game. I don't need lands. Lands are for chumps, okay? Lands are for people... What is this cryptic nonsense? What is this nonsense? Stop it. You should be playing Pact Negation. This is a counterspell! What is this garbage? This is a counterspell. Who plays Cryptic Command? But all our lands are gone. Oh my goodness, he actually has more permission. I hope he doesn't have a spell snare. We're just out of luck. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. Oh. Crap, I have to wait for that to resolve first because the other pact is in exile. Alright, opponent, you got me. Alright, get that first cryptic off. But I'm probably still going for this. I guess we lose the game if I immediately animate the Gideon. Alright, well, let's go for it. Snapcaster Mage. Do you have the spell snare? Oh, he has the spell snare. My pact didn't resolve, though, right? Yes, okay. So since my Pact of Negation didn't resolve, we don't actually lose the game. He's just bouncing the Gideon, which is fine. I can just recast him. I mean, it sucks, but... Alright. I'm gonna put that back out there, opponent. Is there anything else we want to do first? Trying to think if there's anything else I want to do. Oh, I want to bog him. Yeah, because he has Snapcaster Mages. Let's bog him. Yes, absolutely. I was like, there's one more thing we're supposed to do this turn. What is it? It's bog him. And we'll pitch all the things we don't need. We don't need all these things where we're going stream. Probably won't get back to Colonnade mana. Seacrumb's fine. I mean, these fountains will hurt. I'll just pitch those. Who needs that? Nobody got time for that. Verdict sucks in this matchup, and then I'm going to pitch a couple basics. Guess I screwed up. He didn't screw up. Oh my goodness, does he have enough burn to kill us? That would suck. Oh, okay. That's not good. Oh, did I forget to plus my Gideon? I did. Whoops. So I did make a mistake. There was something else I was supposed to do that last turn stream. We could try to get in him again. Yeah, that was a pun on my part. I was supposed to do that stream. All right, let's try to get in. Let's try to balance now. Yeah, I was supposed to plus my Gideon. I just didn't even notice. It's okay. This is not the archetype we really should balance against anyway. I'm just doing this for the lulz at this point, because this already honestly was a pretty bad league, to be honest. Alright. Because really, I think the only win condition I have left is our manlands, right? Colonnade. We'll probably deck up before we can do it. I think I should still bog his lightning bolt away. I guess he was sandbagging some lands. That might not have anything to fetch out. I'm trying to think if I have a way to put cards back into my deck, and I don't think that I do. Off the top of my head, I don't think that I do. Getting him again? But yeah, that's not the archetype I'm supposed to try to get in, to be honest with you, stream. And it's a fine lesson. I think it was hilarious. Ultimate Jace, get his walkers, we aren't dead. Oh, if he has another Gideon? As long as we have Gideon, that's true. Maybe there's another Gideon in his deck? Lightning bolt. Got there. Nice. We can't possibly win the match, though, because it's Moto. This would be a tie in paper, which I assume most control mirrors might go to tie mode. We were just screwing around. I just wanted to... I wanted to pull off an achievement, guys, and I'm sorry. This league, though, with this version of the deck's already been going poorly, and sometimes I'm going to make that call. Like, in testing, I'm going to say, theoretically, is it possible for me to pull off the trade routes restore balance, Astrotold against an opposing blue-eyed control player, or blue-eyed red control player in this case? I think the answer is no. I think that's the conclusion we already came to before I did it. But damn, did I want to do it? I wanted the achievement unlock. We probably lose this game because I just can't finish it in enough time. But I did want the achievement unlock. I mean, if we could speed our deck up, what would it look like? I remember him bringing in a bunch of rest in pieces last time we played. Last time I played my opponent. This guy. Yeah. You know what's weird is cast out technically can handle. Never mind. No, it can't. Watch him Emrakul. Yeah, that would have been funny, Sage, if you had the Nahiri combo. Test the Medley Mages. Firewalker seems cool too. I mean, if we have to get aggressive, those are the ways that we would get aggressive. Get aggressive. Get aggressive. Even though he's going to hate on my snaps, we could leave the snaps in. What's another good card that we could put in? Probably leave in some number of paths. Actually, I think Crucible's so strong even though he has Rest in Peace. I saw multiple Rest in Pieces from my opponent. I think it's just so powerful we don't give it up. You guys get to see how sweet the trade routes is. That's why I'm considering a second copy. You won, Sasifa? I did. I used his Lightning Bolt with a Jace ultimate. Alright, let's run it back. Alright, so let's play a little bit of Speed Magic. I'll talk to you guys after the game. I'll see how much magic I can get in the 5 minutes that we have. My opponent's still sideboarding. Yeah, in the 5 minutes that we have, I'm going to try to get as much magic in as possible. Under normal circumstances, I don't think I put the Medley Mage in. I don't think I put the Firewalker in. Now, if I Medley Mage and then have Firewalker, what should I name? Path? Do you name Path on the Medley Mage? Sage says my achievement was 100% worth it. Yeah, I think so. I think it was worth a fraction of a ticket. I mean, like, when you think about it this way, like, if you play a full league out, even if you're doing poorly, that's how many matches? You're going to get 5 matches. One of the matches I decided to go for an achievement necessarily instead of the victory, the Magic Online victory. The Magic Online victory for the Control Mirror is just play F6 the Gathering. That's actually what you're supposed to do. And I don't like to play that kind of Magic, but that's the technical, correct way to jam. This is not really the hand to do it, so I probably should have mulliganed this, but I did not. I'm supposed to mulligan a hand like that, actually. Like, we're looking for a hand that has a threat that can just jam in. I mean, we turned off his snaps, and he's playing a playset. We only have 2. This is fine. There's our Firewalker. Let's go Fountain Go. Sage says, cast out's interesting tech. Oh, he's on the jam plan too. Jeez. Well, I played Cage. Yeah, I played out the Cage, so he doesn't want to. Yeah. Let's try to get this Astrotold countered, actually. So we have multiples. But it might be worth counter. Thing is with Astrotold is unless he's looked at my hand, he has no idea if I have an Ancestral behind this. Some people will counter the Astrotold because they're like, crap, he has an Ancestral in his hand, doesn't he? No, I don't. It's fine. Like, I actually didn't. I did not. I didn't. Why not just run Stasis Snare? Because Stasis Snare doesn't cantrip. That's why that last... If you're sitting there wondering why is this card good, BrewSpy, that's why. Now, let's try to jam the other one. What we got? I don't have any of the cards that have synergy for this, so I'm just kind of jamming these into his counter magic. Oh, he found out that I didn't have the card behind it. Alright. Or he didn't have a piece of permission. Now he knows we don't have the Ancestral, because I would probably jam it there. It's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's going to have to be fine. Jeez. Okay, but that means I can stick my Gideon here. We can stick Gideon. Torrential... Cryptic or Torrential, I think is what I'm going to do. He might take the land pile over the Cryptic pile. He took the Cryptic? Okay. There's an Ancestral. Now we're talking. So what if we depths and then ghost quarter my depths? I don't want any of this, so perfect timing. Although the colonnade poses an issue. Yeesh. So ghost quartering here to find a white source does kind of suck. Maybe I'm not supposed to deploy Gideon. We deploy Gideon, he has land drop, he attacks colonnade to kill Gideon. Well, no. We can Gideon plus the colonnade. What am I saying? That means we take some damage off the Snapcaster Mage, however. Would he really tap all the way out, though, just to get the colonnade attack? Maybe I'm giving my opponent too much credit. Maybe I am still supposed to just plus on the Snapcaster, and if he does tap out to go for the colonnade, good for him. Nah. We'll make him spend a burn spell if he wants to finish Gideon. So we'll target the colonnade. Now don't forget he has a cryptic that he's just drawn off his Jace. Don't forget. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to balance. That's fine. This is going to be a juicy balance if we get it off. If you're wondering what I'm planning to do with this cryptic, it's actually bounce Jace. He's going to cryptic us. What I'm going to do is counter bounce Jace. What we want to get his Jace stuck in his hand. Come on, show me cryptic. And then we can put the core Firewalker in and start the beatdown. Alright, so we need Firewalker. I guess he just didn't want to fight there. I don't think we have enough time to grind with the Jace. I think we just keep the cryptics and we keep the threat. Yeah, Sandball, have a good night. We only have 2 minutes. But we went for the achievement instead of maybe winning this match, and I knew that. I think if this game was to continue to progress, I think that we actually still could win it, even though he's got a Walker on the table. What did he take? He took the path. Yeah, I mean, I think if this game was to continue progressing, I think that we have a chance. But I don't think it's going to, unfortunately, continue. So we'll draw step into Link, click him off the Astrotold, back it up with a Cryptic. That's fine. Yeah, see you, Sandball. Have a good night. But Sage, the big reason I'm testing it over Stasis Snare is simply because, it's fine, simply because of the fact that it can, cycle is why I'm testing the other card over something like a Detention Sphere or even a Stasis Snare. What about Free Walker then Free Click with Cryptic backup? Well, not yet. Not yet. We can just strip his path or have him spend the path on the click first, guys. Not to mention he might be into colonnade attacking / blocking status soon. There we go. Cryptic Jace, negate Rev. I think you take the Cryptic. I mean, Rev is scary because he's about to have... It's a Rev for 3 with his land. We can play through the command. Actually, might take the Rev. Like, he probably tries to stick Jace here. I have a minute. Don't think a minute's long enough for me to attack with this Firewalker. Sadly, probably not enough time to get their stream. Alright, do I think Foretold is on modern level? Is it too slow? I think it's on modern level, Golich. Like, when you go turn 3 balance, it feels pretty good. I think it's a much more, honestly, better way to use Restore Balance if you were possessed to use Restore Balance in modern than pretty much any other way that you could be doing it. Like, let me give you an example. Like, the old Restore Balance deck was kind of a real... It was a real... what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to be kind with my words. It's a real deck and a half. Yeah, we just don't have enough time to resolve all the things that I need to, and that's okay. This is the kind of game where either this would have been a tie in paper or I could have grinded it out, because certainly like the whole Armageddon thing that we did game 1, which Golich you might have missed, I did one-sided Geddon. We did. I picked up all my lands. What do you got here? Negate. Ancestral. Draw a bunch. Yeah, only 10 seconds. Is the Jace. Okay. I couldn't do the other, because we don't have Gideon on the table with emblems, so I couldn't do Snap Pact of Negation, but if we did, I could have. Oh, excuse me, sorry, there's a cage. But in fairness, we only run a couple Snapcasters. I told you I wanted to see how much magic we could get in the 5 minutes we had left. And it looks like this is our limit, unfortunately, at this point. Okay. So yeah, in paper that would likely have been a tie. On Moto, it unfortunately results in a loss because I got cheeky and I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to go for the achievement unlock, and we did. We did. Was that game 1? Real quick, Golich, because I think he just got here. Let me show you real quick, my friend. And I might be going to bed, actually. It's almost 2 in the morning for me. Go ahead and turn off the mic here, because I know it gets all... You know what? Actually, I'm going to pause it here, and I'm going to skip it ahead till when we did the get-in, so hold up. Give me 1 sec. Alright, so sometimes it's important to review matches. I guess my 2 cents on it is the get-in isn't really something you want to do against an opposing blue mage. And there are plenty of decks in Modern that have nothing to do with blue permission. In fact, a lot of people, myself included, feel that the blue permission in Modern is pretty bad. But this is where I'm kind of going with the deck. I'm trying to add some more land synergies. You notice that I'm trying more than one trade routes, perhaps, or something like Deprive. Maybe we'll just do a split. And then I've added some additional copies of the lands that we liked, the effects, and some other little wonderfulness. Anyways, let's finish out this league. I mean, we paid to play it, so let's at least get our testing with this version. Like, things we were testing in this version that I'm not testing in the other versions. I'm testing things like Dismember. That's like the big to-do. And then the sideboard meddling mages, I wanted to see how those would fare against combo. We haven't actually faced any combo in this league, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've only faced fair decks. Blue permission is bad. There's some very powerful missiles. I think the issue is, the exception is like permissive spells that are strong. I think it's a small list. I think in my mind that list ends with Spell Snare and Cryptic Command. I think those are like the two big ones for me. We might add a Spell Snare back to the list, Sage Phoenix. Been debating adding one to this. I actually slimmed one Astrotoll, which is probably wrong. Somebody really wanted me to test Rude Halos. Part of me thinks that this should still be a sideboard plan. Then we could try the first Spell Snare. I mean, I like, certainly, it's live in most matches. That's true. There's a couple matches here and there where it's not, but it's live in most. What about a well-timed Remand? Probably will be spicy. Yeah, we'll see. We have some lands that want to be bounced. Examples are Pajuka. I don't know how many depths and Kabiras we can afford to actually test. It might just, these both might need to continue to just be 1-ups, or it might need to be a split of Kabira and then the Radiant. And then the other land might just need to be like a normal land, like either another fetch or we're not running the Dismember, so I don't think we need the Water Grave unless you really want to try hard to make the explosives stronger more regularly. Then you could add like a Miser's Watery Grave, which we did do. And then you have like probably want to try to incorporate maybe one more fetch than what we have. I think it's greedy and unnecessary, but it's something we should certainly consider, trying to make the explosives a little bit stronger. That certainly makes... I mean, if I'm going to run a Water Grave instead of a Condemn, I'm going to run a Dismember. I did like that about the version we're playing right now, the Miser's Dismember, with there's like a black source in Bajuka, and then there's a tutorable black source, fetchable black source, I should say. I did like the one of Dismember. I don't think it's too greedy. Especially if we're going to bother to run a Watery Grave to make explosives better as well. That way we can... I would say most of the time this explosive... Well, okay, this is an example where the explosives is x equals to 3 if we want it to be. I'll keep this. Seems grindy. I think what's interesting right now, Sage Phoenix is one of the most popular blue permission spells is none of the cards that you or I listed. I think that's what's interesting about Modern right now, is the blue permission spell that's like really putting up results and everybody's testing is none of the spells you or I listed. We were both wrong. Name that card. Oh, he's Tron. Okay, so we get to try to resolve the Restore Balance Wombo against this guy. Against this opponent, I definitely would consider trying to just get the Snapcaster on the table as soon as possible. Why don't we go Island and then we can go Bajuka next turn. Opponent's down a game with Tron. Surprise. Nope. Keep guessing. I'll give you a hint. It's played in Grixis Shadow. That's your hint. It's played in Grixis Shadow. Summary Dismissal. Your hint is that it's played in Grixis Shadow. Oh, is he going to Pyroclasm here? That's classic. Classic Tron if he's just going to Pyroclasm this Snapcaster. Yes, it's Stubborn. And Pyroclasm. Looks like a Pyroclasm to me. Yeah, okay. You got it. Well, I guess that Snapcaster would have been relicked anyways. I don't mind only having two Snapcasters these days. Snap's a very powerful card, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of decks in the format just having main board Relic. And it's like, oh, well. Now, Cryptic's a good game against my opponent's deck. I'm going to need more than just a Cryptic to fight Tron. Stubborn is the reason. Oh, Sage, you play Grixis Shadow? You might have told me that at some point. I don't remember if that came up. Dispel's also powerful. Yeah, I'm gonna be testing a sideboard Dispel, I think. I could see a mainboard Snare and a sideboard Dispel. It's kind of where I'm thinking. You play Grixis Delver. Excuse me, that is different. Some players would argue that you're supposed to fight over the Sylvan Scrying as a blue red control player, because if you can keep them from getting to their Tron mana, you can essentially stop a lot. Alright, so we need to call... This is our last game. That was my alarm to remind me that I need to go to sleep. This is probably our last game. Don't know what I'm supposed to get on this Talari. Here's the conundrum. If I go grab Pact, and he slams something that I have to counter, it's like, well, then we have to tap out, so... We really need small Gideon before I can afford to do that against something like Tron. And that may be the majority of decks. But you know what? We're moving to a split of 1-1 Pact in the future for that reason. I think it's a very powerful interaction if you have Gideon to consider Pact. That's something that you'll even see out of ad nauseum. They'll be running Pact alongside sideboard Gideons. In our case, we're more towards gravitating the Pacts being in the sideboard. But you could mainboard two of these. Anyway, I think we just make our land drop and say go. I mean, maybe I'm supposed to engineer explosives away his relics. I guess I could have done that, right? The only thing is there's only a couple cards that I guess there's one more Snapcaster and there's one Crucible, and that's it as far as how much I care about these relics. That would have been a moment for me to pop them though, where he couldn't cantrip with them. What about a Slaughter Pact? Slaughter Pact is dangerous. So yeah, here's the conundrum: do I fight over him developing his Tron mana, or do I fight over the actual scary things in his hand? He's only got 3 cards. I mean, a Slaughter Pact would be cool. We'd have to really embrace the Esper side of the deck, though. Like, we'd have to become more Esper-y. More Esper-like. Like, we need a lot more fetches. Like, if we were to run a Slaughter Pact, it would look like this. The deck would change, not drastically, but significantly. If you had a Slaughter Pact, we might not even run the Dismember. Like, that would probably have to take the spot of the Dismember. And Slaughter Pact doesn't fight Shadow, and that's a pretty popular card right now. I think that's a little too deep for us. I think if we were going to be Esper Foretold, which we were at one point, I think it'd be meritable, but I think maybe that's too deep. I think it'd be hard for us to consistently have the Black Source, and the only way we'd be able to get away with it is if we had Gideon. That's just my initial thought, Sage, but if we can get a version that does it, you know, I'm all for it. It sucks to say, I just don't think we'd consistently get the Black Source. What, we have one that's not tutorable, unless you want a Tolaria West for, and then we have Watery that we only have 5 fetches for. I mean, although here I can find the other Black Source, right? It sucks, I know, because I want it to happen too. But maybe we'll ease ourselves into more black cards, you know? Yeah, we're still in that conundrum, right? I can't really search up the Pact, can I? Because then we don't have Cryptic on time. Why don't we just put this, explosives out there? It is nice with Gideon, but we're only running 2 Gideons. I mean, somebody even considered, you know, telling me they wanted me to test Intervention Pact. And I was like, I don't know about that. Oh, Ulamog? Yep, that's game. Yay, Tron. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I could have fought over the Sylvans itself. The issue is eventually they'll get to their Tron mana. Alright, what else can we do for this matchup? Stoney's great. Medley Mage is interesting. Click is great. That's really it. Disenchant comes in, I guess, for like O-Stone. I think in retrospect, I think I had a couple opportunities to fight over his mana and I chose not to. The only sweeper I like against them is Burial. I mean, you got Wormcoils and you got Ulamogs. Indestructible, things that give value when they die. Probably cut the explosives, we just brought in 2 Stony Silences. Probably this is how you go. Now, Big Gideon has relevancy. I mean, you could consider these 2, but it's like, what do you cut to run them, you know? It's like, I don't know, I don't think Bless is all that great, actually. We could do that in this matchup. Okay. Yeah, I think we should have tried to find the Geddon. Now, we're not going to get the Geddon very often with that build, and arguably we may not even get it that often with this new build. Like, we only have 3 Foretold, we only have 2 trade routes, only 1 balance, albeit it's tutorable. Anyway. Go big or go home? Yes. Yeah, we have to keep this against Tron. It's got balance. It's got As Foretold. We're probably not going to see, until I add more copies of trade routes, we're not going to see the full combo. We're just not. Should I keep... No, we may need to immediately balance, so why don't we go ahead and just suspend this Ancestral. We may need... The first thing we do with the As Foretold against Tron, it may need to be just the balance itself. Depending on how quickly he develops his Tron mana. And we're not running anything like Gargadon, unfortunately, so I don't have a sack engine. Cryptic's a good draw. Or at least it will be. Disenchant, no. No reason to shoot a Chromatic Star with it. Period. I'm worried we're not going to find our third land drop. I shouldn't fetch here. So, good. So he's got Tron immediately. I mean, this is where Deprive would be not great, but an option. This is where, if we were running Mana Leaks, we'd be happy to have them. This is where a Spell Snare would kind of be like, oh, that's not great. And I guess that's my feelings towards... Yeah, go ahead. That's my feelings towards... We didn't know we were only going to see 2 lands. Maybe we should have mulliganed for a 3-lander. Hashtag Spell Snare. Hashtag Karn Liberated. Alright, good games. Alright, let's queue up another one and then we're going to go to bed. I promised you guys one more game and that really didn't pan out to be one, so we'll jam one more. Bet you wish you're disenchanted now, says Karn Father. Why? You should read the card, Karn Father. You should know it. So the egg that he had there was Chromatic Star. Star draws him a card. Now, he did use it for filtering, though. That's true. Is that why you're saying I should have disenchanted? I didn't really want to disenchant something that draws my opponent a card. So when Chromatic Star is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, he draws a card. I couldn't justify that play. I guess, in retrospect, he used it to filter into a Sylvan Scrying, but that seems really bad. It still seems really bad, stream. I still think a million times out of a million I'm not going to make that play. I think only unless I had perfect information, like if I saw my opponent's hand, would I ever make that play. Annoying says hindsight's 2020. I think only if I had perfect information and like the top card of my opponent's deck as well, would I consider disenchanting Chromatic Star. Sage says, but who really cares about cards if they can't cast them? I can't see myself ever making that play, and maybe that's the difference between me beating Tron and me not beating Tron. I'm just not willing to make a crazy play like that. Like, I would never do that, you know? That's awesome, Karn Father. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's fun. You guys are welcome to give me a hard time. It's funny. The second I give a viewer a hard time, it's like, oh, BrewSpy's being mean. It's like, no. It's like, you guys are allowed to give me a hard time. I think it's fair for me to give you guys a hard time. I assume you guys are all adults, right? I assume you guys are adults. It's an assumption. I mean, I guess we could have some younger age people watching, but I assume for the most part you guys are 18 or older. Guys and girls. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I think 99% of the time I would never make that play. I did at least consider it, though. That's something you should really recognize. It's not like I said, oh, pass. I was like, oh, should we disenchant that? I was like, nah, I don't think so. He'll draw a card, and then I passed. Whisper says, but we also assumed he didn't have Tron to begin with. Phoenix says, personally found fighting Tron spells is a losing proposition. Yeah, I mean, you're better off trying to fight their mana. And so that's like where would this spell snare help us? I don't know. Deep down, I feel like the Dismember isn't the answer either. I think, you know what, I think we were spot on with where we were going with the build. I think it was a one of Condemn, and then I think it was... I just don't know what the last card is. I know, but balancing their Karn Father wasn't even enough if I didn't have the way to bounce them. Like, if we didn't have a way to, like... No, I keep this probably. Like, we didn't have a way to, like... It would have been 3 lands on 3 lands, Karn Father. Like, unless I have a bounce engine, or if we're going to splash red and run, like, something like Gargadon, I don't have a way... I wouldn't have blown up any of his lands. Do you understand? We wouldn't have actually blown up any of his lands. It would have been 3 lands to 3 lands. So, yeah. And so that's the conundrum. It's like that. Honestly, most of the time, this is just a creature sweeper. We have to run some like kind of strange out the cusp, out there cards to really pull off the other side to the restore balance consistently. But we also had to draw 3. That's true. We had suspended turn 1 Ancestral, so turn... We wouldn't have seen it till turn 5. Alright, burn. Let's see if we can do it. This guy's been having a rough league. Poor guy. I just looked at his record. Okay. This is one of the reasons why I've been adding more alliances. Maybe that's what I should do. We should just add the second alliance to the... Actually, I remember what was there. I think we had a main board Ruined Halo, and I think that should still be in the sideboard. I mean, we could add like another... We could add like a Blessed. We could add a Piece of Permission. Who likes a Miser's Mana Leak? Maybe a Miser's... Maybe a Logic Knot? I do like Logic Knot. I'd put a Logic Knot in there. I think we can pull off one. We only have 2 Snapcasters. What about the first Logic Knot? How's that sound, stream? What about the first of the Logic Knots? I like a good Logic Knot. That'd be a fine card for that spot. Sage says I still would have killed Star. Disenchant's off on the matchup anyway. Yeah, that's true. Like, what else? What was I gonna tag instead of that? Was I hoping to tag a map? He'd probably be able to pop it in response. Was I hoping to tag a Oblivion Stone? Maybe that's what I was hoping to tag with it. It's probably true. And you know what, Karnfather? I definitely respect your opinion. I mean, you said that's the deck that you play, so I mean, you're gonna know better than me what's important. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely in the future think about doing that play. Here's the thing. I think of it with this one, not Chromatic. What's the other one? What's the other star? There's another star that they play. I don't have any copies of it. If it was the other star, I think I would have maybe done it. I just couldn't justify killing the Chromatic because it's the one that draws another card. Chromatic Sphere. Yeah, so like, let's just pull it up on stream so we can like talk about it. This match against this Burn player is not going to take long anyway. Either we're dead or we beat him and it's going to be quick. So Chromatic Star is the one that doesn't draw unless it's activated. I think absolutely this would have been much easier for you guys to coax me into, or I might have just dismembered it, or excuse me, disenchanted it on my own. And I think that's just where I am, and I'm not. It's not that I'm not ready for those next level plays where you would. Let me pull up the other one just so we can talk about it again. So it's Chromatic Star. So I still feel like that's not a play that I need to play against Tron more, I guess. Has a Trade Routes Radiant Fountain saved you yet? Yeah, we used it against a Burn player the other day. Speaking of which, we're up against one. Why don't we just go Scalding Tard? Yeah, speaking of which, we're up against one. I hope he plays some dudes, but not Eidolon. See, that's the issue, is like the Restore Balance combo. If there's one creature it's not good at all, like it's good against Bogles, you can use it against Shadow, like anything, it's great. It's Sacrifice. It doesn't line up well against Kitchen Finks, and it doesn't line up well against Eidolon, and the reason is because you have to pay life on this and this. So here it comes. Yep. And that's just the thing. Now, in fairness, a Dismember wouldn't save me here. You'd be better off with like a Path or a Condemn. Actually, since we have the Dismember in this build, no, I still have to get the Fountain. I was like considering grabbing the lottery. Come on, deck. It's just like I can't justify balancing here. How many cards are we going down? That'd be Land Drop, Foretold, Balance. We're on 4 cards. He does discard a card if we do this, and you rarely get to make Burn discard a card, actually. So let's actually go for it. We're going to take 4 off this, but we're making him discard a card, which is relevant unless he's got a bunch of lands. We have to remove this, and it sucks, and it would take a lot of damage to do so. Alright, we'll choose these 2. Gideon actually has some really favorable interactions against Eidolon. If you look at how Gideon works, although you take damage when you play it against an Eidolon, Gideon plussing an Eidolon is really, really cool. I love that synergy. So, like, the cards that I like to draw against Burn are not the ones that we've drawn this game. We saw a bunch of lands in our balance combo, but is this another Eidolon? Yeah, of course it is. Oh boy. I think we have to go for the other one, Stream. We should have a second balance in this version. And see, that's a thing. You know, that's something that I've considered doing. Transmute. Let's go grab the other one. Yep. Against Hand Hate, it's really nice to have a second one. And this time we're only going to take 2. I'm going to keep these. He does discard another card here. Eidolon goes down, and did I get an actual burn spell this time? Yes! Well, it's a Searing Blaze. I guess that would hit us eventually. Yeah, it's an awesome interaction, Sage. They still take damage from the Eidolon, and we don't. It's been relevant. Alright, trade routes. Okay. I think what we do against Burn, I'm going to cast a Totem, I'm going to cycle these 2 lands. Because, like, honestly, all the stuff I need against Burn is low on the curve unless it's specifically the Cryptics. So I think I'm just going to cycle both these, digging for, like, something. Is what I'm going to do. Because we need to draw to something. Maybe I should make him think we have Spell Snare and draw in response. Let's discard the planes. Okay. I mean, yes, obviously there are some land drops I need to make, but the fact that we could hit something there is relevant. Like, against Burn, I'll churn all my lands into extra cards. You kidding me? Let's go crack. No, not return. I want to draw. Can we draw something? Nope. Alright. Yeah, those cards wouldn't line up against Burn in a million years. Double Eidolon was brutal. We even made him pitch an actual Burn spell off the balancing, but we took too much off it. Alright, Timely comes in. Purge. Firewalkers are great. I think our matchup game 1 against Burn's not impossible, but we just have to draw the right side of our deck. We didn't, we drew the grindy side. Like, that against a grindy deck would have been transmuted for an Ancestral, not another Restore Balance. Speaking of which, I think I only need 1 Restore Balance against Burn, if any. And then we cut all the Wraths, we cut Jace, actually, Cast Out's a cantrip, we can keep it, because it's just a cantrip. Dismember out, Crucible out, that's too slow. Gideon of the Trials is great, we keep them all in. Will allow us to continue to run our Pact of Negations, potentially. It's dangerous, but you have to get dangerous against Burn. Vendilion Click is solid. What else do you guys like? We got room for 2 cards. Do you want a couple Meddling Mages? Disenchant hits specifically Eidolon. Eidolon's a huge deal. Big Gideon has synergy with Small Gideon. If we get a Gideon emblem off, then we have Big Gideon. Alright, let's do it. So that's what I'm going to run. What if you go full black? If you go full-blown Esper, you get Fatal Push? That's true. If we went full-blown Esper, we get Fatal Push. This is true. I think you do have to keep this against Burn, actually. It's got the Blessed. It's got land drops. We're kind of... Our mana last game was not the most wonderful thing. You still like Meddling Mage? I guess you could name Eidolon on a Meddling Mage just run the play. That'd be funny. Name Eidolon. I was like, hey... This is probably Goblin Guy. Alright. Well, if you're gonna be a Goblin Guy, draw me a card. Draw me a land. You're the Goblin Guy. What do we got coming up? Ancestral. Oh, Timely. Crap, he saw the Timely reinforcements. Oh, jeez. Guess I play the Watery Tapped. Oh yeah, I mean, Meddling Mage may have definitely been the correct sideboard card. If we get another game against this guy, remind me. Path to Exile revealed. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I want to do a Sorcery Speed Timely. I think what I want to do is Blessed Path. It's kind of awkward. The Mystic Gate's great in some spots, but honestly, this would be a blue-white source instead of a Watery Grave if we weren't trying to pull off Dismember. And it does hurt the mana base tremendously. You see it hurting us right here. You see it's hurting. It's hurting. You had no idea Mage was modern legal? Oh yeah, Sage. It's a thing. I don't know, maybe I just want to add another fetch land. And the fact that I added a second trade routes, like I want more utility lands. I guess the most universal is going to be a second Holomar Depths. And we've got 2 life gain lands. We've got the Bajuka. Let's test 2 Holomars if I'm going to run 2 trade routes. That's kind of that's the most basic synergy. got engineered explosives coming up. Path this. Wizard says Mage was a Lara. I'm gonna gain 4 here, see if it coaxes a Skullcrack. That's a Skullcrack effect that's not gonna hurt our Timely down the line. My opponent's name is MetaGameGurus.com, by the way. Now, he might have multiple Skullcrack effects, so it's like moot to me, but we have limited white mana. Alright, he did have this crack, unfortunately. Okay. And that's why against Burn, the safer mode to use is the Destroy a Creature, actually. But the life mode is the one that's super sweet. Alright, do we draw a different land? No, we had explosives coming up, that's right. I mean, if I Timely here, he can crack this fetch land and stop my Timely. Which I assume that he would. We have an Ancestral that's almost off. Why don't we transmute here, actually? Like, what's best case scenario? Or we just make a land drop. I could just go grab a life gain land. You know what's funny is that might be relevant. Is that weird that I would, against Burn, like, go grab a life gain land instead of, like, an Ancestral or even a Pact of Negation? I don't even think that's crazy. This version doesn't have the white one, though, unfortunately. It has just the Radiant Fountain. In the future, I'm thinking of adding a split. I'm going to test a split of Kabir, Crossroads, and Radiant. Radiant is the one that's better to bounce the trade routes because it's not a tap land, but this is the one that's easier on our mana base. And that gives us the ability to... 3 mana gain 2 life is actually reasonable. Okay, let's do it. Hey, we put it in the deck. We might as well try it. And you can't Skullcrack us here. Go. It's also a land drop. That, it does put us on Cryptic. That's true. I mean, I'm assuming this Ancestral is going to get us there. It sucks if he plays Eidolon here because we have to cast the Ancestral. That was the other play I had, was Prime and Explosives to deal with an Eidolon. We could have primed an Explosives. That was my other play. It's here for the Burn matchup. Truth. That's what it is here for. It's just I don't really want to have to tutor for them, so that's why in the future I think I'd like to be greedy and try to add multiple. Alright. Stomping Ground. Farcast Riftbolt. Molten Rain. That's pretty good. Then the Eidolon. Yep. Alright, so... And what sucks is he's at a pretty low life total. Now I can't Timely for the creatures. And what I was talking about is really killing us here. Okay, Path. Do you want to Explosives away the Eidolon, or do you want to Path the Eidolon? I guess what I could do... No, I don't have to wait for that. There's a couple different things we could do. I think the right thing to do is use the Explosives to deal with Eidolon. Like, I think I'm supposed to maybe even consider playing out the Ghost Quarter. Prime and blow the EE, says Phoenix. That's what I'm thinking of doing. So you're thinking, knowing it's stranded at Timely. Timely doesn't do what you want it to do unless I strand and shock myself and put myself to 8 and then Timely. Knowing it says stranded to Timely. Actually, you're right. I can shock myself into the full value on the Timely. So basically, it's a +3 life instead of a 6. You'll take 2 from Eidolon. Oh, truth. Yeah, we'll go to 8. Good call. Good call. Well, wait, is the mode for Timely already chosen by the time it's on the stack? Hang on, this is a judge question. Judge is in the room. Is the modes on Timely already chosen? Or I guess it's going to wait till it resolves, right? So it will read the Eidolon and then it will do the full 6, correct? It'll happen at the time of resolution, not at the time of casting, correct? It's at the time of resolution, not when we cast it. It's not like it's not modal, is it? Timely's not modal, right? It's gonna check on resolution. I think that's a fair question. Maybe it's because it's late. It is 2:30. Yeah, because it's not a mode. Okay, it's not modal. I think that's a fair question. Alright, so Timely here. take the 2. Nice. But we don't have Cryptic Mana. But we have blockers. You know what sucks is if he has the Atarkus command and I try to block, it's gonna hurt. Speaking of hurt, he puts himself to 7. Sage says we play Astrotoll, why not run some tax cards? I hadn't thought about that. Cryptic. I don't really want to trade my soldiers with Goblin Guide. I guess that I might have to, though. We triple block because of the possibility of Atarkus. Yeah, I'll trade 2 soldiers for a threat and some life points. Because we really need to set up for the colonnade. Again, eventually I'm probably going to Ghost Quarter away his stomping ground. The other play I have, guys, is I can EE away his Eidolon. Or we can just chillax. He's at 7. Honestly, like, us killing his Eidolon, like, probably foils my plan. Like, my plan actually should just be to get to these Cryptics and let the Cryptics win the game for us. And the fact that his life total's taxed by the Eidolon. Like, you can get into these interesting board states where we just fly over him with Colonnade. Yeah, now he realizes what's going on. Let his own Eidolon kill him. This is an even exchange. Don't really want to take this too. He's at such a low life total, though. I guess I'm supposed to leave the Eidolon alone and beat him with Cryptics and Colonnade, right? Like an Eidolon swing here, or a Cryptic swing here is huge. I think he realized that. We have double his life total. Yeah, we got there. It only took a tutorable life gain land, a Blessed Alliance, and a Timely Reinforcements to win, right? Only took that much stream. Okay, so somebody said I was supposed to run the Meddling Mages over... what? The Disenchant, and although this is a reasonable answer to Eidolon, I think Explosives is kind of wonky. I mean, like, cast up Big Gideon, these are all things that are like, it's like, you know? I don't think the game's long enough for me to benefit even from trade routes. That's just my 2 cents. I guess Meddling Mage is fine in that case. Like, cast out's an easier cantrip. Although trade routes is something that can, like, just cycle if we get flooded. We can cycle a bunch of lands if we get flooded. Cast out, if the game's going long enough, this is a way to answer an Eidolon that doesn't hurt us. Cut 5-drop Gideon? I know, but it has relevancy if we get a Gideon of the Trials emblem and then Gideon of the Trials dies. If I can stick another Gideon, I still feel like the extra Gideon matters because of that fact. I think Explosives is sweet because you could get the 2-for-1 against Burn. They do have a lot of 1-drops. If we're dropping out a 5-mana Walker, we probably already won, though. That's truth. That's true. That's true. That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it that way. So there you go, that's a 60. So we cut the Disenchant and the Gideon to bring in 2 Meddling Mages. Ooh, it's got the Radiant Fountain. Do we keep this? It's got the Radiant Fountain, guys, but nothing else going for it. He kept a quick 7, that's terrifying. Okay, so we've got gain 2 life, suspended. This can't be enough, right? Unless this Halimar Depths is going to show me something useful. Like, do we think the action is in the top 3? Do we think there's action for us in the top 3? Like, the goods. The goods. Or do you mull this? This is probably too slow for Burn, right? This fan does feel risky. Alright. I'll keep this one. Bottom Burn. I might just play this Talaria West out. Nah, we'll go Seagrum. That might really hurt us, though, instead of leading on that foil Talaria. Actually, that's the extra Talaria, since this is a foil. This version was testing 3 Talarias, that's the extra Talaria. The other version's only on 2. For reasons like this. It's Appland. I've also considered instead of Halimar depths, hold up stream. I've also considered instead of just a bunch of Halimar depths, I've considered running temples. I've considered temples. Because they're easier on your mana. I've considered temples, by the way, instead of like any number of Halimars. I know this like digs us deeper, but like this might be easier on our mana base. Tap lands and modern are a gigantic cost. Yes, they are. That they are. Okay, I got a new plan. Why don't we go play suspend? Lava Man ping. Engineered explosives, please. We may just be dead, stream. Ooh! He'll burn here to put us down a card. I'm going to pitch the Pact, because we don't have the Gideon. I'm going to pitch Pact the Negation, keep the Ancestral and the Cryptic. Oops. I want this and this. Done. And that's one of the reasons to have the second Restore balance, is to just naturally draw it occasionally like that. I'm still on the fence. I want multiple balances in the build, as you can see. I mean, if I was to add a second balance, what I'd probably have to cut is a Verdict, but now that I'm only running 3 Acertolds, I think that this is a real liability to have multiples of. So, just give and a take. Definitely a give and a take. Yeah, that was awesome timing. I agree. That we're gonna get to draw 3 here, it's gonna be great. Ooh, blessed. Alright. Drawing like a boss. Yeah, that is step 1. Oh, we didn't draw land. Ugh. I think I want to keep this alliance up. Oh, wish I had my trade routes. I could pick up my C-Chrome. Alright. Alright guys, so we have to guess this card. If you're a Burn Mage, what's the last card you have? Rift Bolt, right? It's always Rift Bolt. Oh, no, we should name something that kills us with 1 card. Boros Charm. Well, no, he's already played 2 Boros Charms. Alright, so hold up. It's gonna be an Autarchus command, right? It's gonna be a Lightning Bolt. Name a card that kills you. Well, Boros Charm is the only one that deals 4. But do you really want to name something he's already cast 2 of? Part of me thinks I'm supposed to name, like, something he hasn't seen yet, which is like Lava Spike, Rift Bolt. Sage is how we're casting this off the Acertold, Sage. If you're wondering. Casting it off of this card, buddy. But no, seriously, you're fine. You're fine, friend. But no, seriously, what am I naming? I want to name something he hasn't seen yet, right? Because they have playsets. I guess Eidolon is the scariest thing, actually, he could have, period. We should name Eidolon. We should just name Eidolon. What am I talking about? That's like the scariest thing he could possibly have, isn't it? Eidolon the Great Rebel? Isn't that the scariest thing? I mean, I guess I could block it. But he's got like 15 life. Yeah, it's Eidolon. You name Eidolon. Alright, buddy, don't have a burn spell. Your move. Or don't have double burn spell. Please. Riftbolt seemed like a fair name. Alright, Ancestral. Come on, draw us a white source. I mean, that counts. Do you Ghost Quarter his stomping ground? I think I do. I don't even think I could put the other Astrotold out here. I think I have to hold the Blessed. So he might be going for an end-step burn spell. Alright, now we got Cryptic off this Astrotold. Need a second white source first. Well, no, we can cast it off the Astrotold. I did this too soon. And that's okay, that's a good lesson to learn now instead of later. Like his hand might have legitimately been double Skullcrack there. Click yourself, cast Gideon Emblem. I could have done that, that's truth. Why didn't I think of that line, Knight Raiden? Yeah, we could have, that would have been a really sick line. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, I stacked it wrong. Well, I guess we're playing the Gideon off the Astrotold. Oh, that's no, I stacked it that way because we didn't need the Gideon. That's right. That's right. Emblem. All right, got there. Well, we won the match. We can beat Burn! We did it! We did it. God, this league went horrible. And I know I threw the first two because we were tired at the end of that last stream, but like, the fact that we lost two today, even though we were somewhat rested, is sad. This is wonderful. We did it! I don't think we're supposed to win that match, but we did. I don't think we're supposed to win that matchup, but we did. I would argue that Burn is favored against us. But we did it. Defgluck says, the one for finish. The one... Yeah. What can I say? We had a much better finish last time. It's okay. I think we've made some... Like, the previous build, to be honest with you, I think was actually a step back. I think it was a step back in some regards. I'll show you why, card for card, real quick. Let me pull it up. Let me pull up our last... What was that? It was a comp league? Let me get us a Temple of Enlightenment. Let me just show it to you guys real quick. So, I think this was a step back. Like, we weren't sure about the sideboard. Like, we had these, like, medley mages and stuff. We should have just been running Rest in Peace. I know Cage is good against the Coco Cabana decks, your Coco decks, your Cord decks. I get that. I get why we were considering Cage. But you know what? There's a lot more artifact removal than there is enchantment removal in Modern, period. That's just how it is. So I think that the Dismember is not worth it. Running the Watery Grave. I think there was a Watery Grave. Yeah. It was awkward. It was awkward mana. Let's have nicer mana. Let's have nice mana. I'm going to actually pick up 2 Temples, because if the Temple is sweet, I'm going to swap the Halimar Depths out for Temples. That's honestly where my mind's going. I think that we're not getting white often enough, or turn 3 enough to slam Gideon on time. And I think Gideon's a big part of our deck. Like, against combo decks, or burn, we want to be able to go Gideon, back it up with a Pact of Negation. And I think that synergy is integral to the deck. Outside of Abrupt Decay, it works. So I think that's a reason we should consider maybe even this. Like, do that, you know? Yeah, Halimar just seems so bad for us. I think so. I think we'll go double Temple. And I think I will still run a split of Kabir, Crossroads, and Radiant. Because I think that Radiant is the better land for the trade routes gain 2 life every turn synergy. But I think that Kabira is going to be less bad on our mana. Still like Temple because we haven't been shuffling away as much as we wanted to. Yeah, I think that's the dream with Halimar Depths is... Yeah. And I think that this is enough synergy. I think like trade routes, returning Temples and Scrying, I think is fine synergy. I think that's strong enough for Modern. I think we want to live the dream, which is Halimar Depthsing. But you know what? We don't even get to shuffle. Because that was your land drop, so it's like you Halimar Depths, and then next turn you get to play a fetch land and shuffle. You don't get to immediately shuffle. So why don't we stick with Temples? We'll run maybe 1 or 2 Temple. And that gives us 2 life gain lands that want to be bounced. That gives us 2 deck manipulating lands, although it's just Scry, but it's Scry. And then that gives us a creature land that has benefits from trade routes. Obviously, this gives it protection from Ghost Quarter. It gives it protection from removal. Whereas Crucible... It also gives you protection from exile effects like Path. Crucible can't do that. Crucible is just going to help against normal removal effects like because that's a criticism I've gotten several times. I think the most Colonnade I'd run in this deck is 2. And again, part of it's because we can tutor for it. The other part is they're really resilient because we're already running these other engines to benefit our Astrotold Restore Balance. I think the only other thing I'm going to consider stream is doing that. That's the only other thing I would consider is second Restore Balance over the second Verdict. But that being said, we did just what? We just took out the 4th Astrotold. So... we thought about using a god instead of Elspeth. Which one? The White God? I gotta go to bed though, guys. It's like 3 in the morning, and I promised I'd be awake. Which one? Oh. Huh. Returning lands to our hand is relevant for our deck. Why didn't we consider Kefnet? Well, that's much more expensive than trade routes. This wouldn't have synergy with Restore Balance, but this would blink stuff for us. Alright, what about the white one? Big dudes. What about Heliod? Oh, Heliod's always been sweet. I like Heliod. Let's see if we can find this Heliod. I might have to search for it. Thassa? Yeah, Heliod. It's really expensive. You're thinking one of the Theros gods? We had synergy for that blue god, though, I'm just saying. Like, we have lands that want to be balanced. We have synergy for that blue god. Hilariously enough, I don't think it's worth running. It's Kefnet. The Thas is sweet too. I don't think we need the unblockable before, though. Kefnet's interesting. Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, I mean, Thas is cool. Thassa is an interesting idea. Run Moloku. I mean, there are some games where we do go back, go up to 7 cards again. Just a thought. Yeah. I mean, I think the second balance is good. There's still a few cards in the list I'll be on, and I'm waiting for it. Waiting for it. Like, I don't know if it's 2 verdicts or if it's 2 balance. I don't know. The issue is I just trimmed an Astrotold, so it's like... Ugh. We had to cut something else to run the 4th Astrotold. I have been considering cutting, believe it or not, a Cryptic or 2. I have been considering it for some time now. I mean, part of me feels that we're really heavy on our 3 drops, as you can see. I'd like to add more 2 drops to the deck. I'd like to have more 2 drops than I do 4 drops. So, like, that's an idea. Or a combination of 1 drops or 2 drops. I mean, we could do this. Figure out a different card for this to be. Could even just be, like, Blessed Alliance is main deckable, and then you get another sideboard card. This Cryptic can become something else. Melfina, glad your sleeping pills kicked in finally. Get some rest. You wish you the most amazing, wonderful dreams. Yeah, thanks, Melfina. Have a good night as always. What about explosives? It's a sideboard card. I haven't seen you do anything super crazy with it. Yeah, and it's, we're not really running a 3rd color. Just sideboard the explosives. We could. What about a spell snare? Alright, what about that card that kills an attacking or blocking red dude and gains its life? That's a sideboard tech card. That's a sideboard and a half. I mean, our sideboard had cut the core Firewalkers. That's actually a really cool sideboard option, Sage Phoenix. That would be good against Burn and Shadow. Been trying to get him to play Snare all night. Yeah. Alright, hold on. Let me make some changes. I'm going to move all the things that could go to the sideboard or just be entirely cut. I think I'm okay with 3 Cryptics. I think I'll be okay with just 3. Especially since we just added a Logic and a Deprive. I think I'll get over myself and I'm okay with just 3 Cryptics. Or maybe even just 2. Some players, they have this mantra where they're like, no, you will play playset of Cryptic. If you're going to play Cryptic, it's like, no, like I'm only running 2 Snapcasters anyway. Like, those are the same players that are like, no, I want the playset of Snaps, playset of Cryptic. It's like, that's my late game. It's like, we have a different late game potential. Like, we've got these Walkers, we've got Turtable Pact Negations, we've got As Foretold, Ancestral Draws. Like, it's a different deck. It's probably not going to be a playset of Cryptic. That's a really cool card idea. So, black or red creature. That's really cool. So, answers Taziger, answers Shadow, answers all the burn threats. That sounds really cool and gains its life when it does it. What is the name of that card? Anybody know the name? I mean, we could add a Spell Snare. I'm down for a Spell Snare. Because when it's good, it's so good. We can just take it out. In the matchups that it's not good, you just board it out. It's okay. It's okay. You take it out. What is the name of that card? Purge is still better? Yes and no. Like, the life gain's relevant. You're saying just run more Purges is probably still better? I mean, I'm down for running some clutch cards. It's a Radiant Purge. I thought I had some of it too. I thought I was playing Standard for a little bit during that block. Might have some. Dylan says, but why run less than optimal? great question, Didlin. That is a great question. I'm sure somebody in chat has answered it already. I'll look in a second, my friend. All right. Yeah, we could just run more purges. I mean, maybe that's the right call. Instead of running something so very, very specific. What's the name of this card? I know what card you're talking about, Sage. I just don't know the picture or the name. What is the name of that card? I mean, I love Blood Baron. If we were to go back to Esper, I love this card in the meta. This thing's hilariously strong. There's seldom a way for them to remove it. I've had like some games against Shadow where you're just like, yep, just lasted long enough to cast this. Oh, game's over? Sorry. Also, if we go black, you can run like some Shambling Beds. I like Shambling Beds. What's up, Lauren? How's it going? It's been a while. So yeah, I mean, we could just run more purges. I can't remember the name either. Yeah. Oh, Surge. Yeah, so... Okay, so what if we read this as kill Death Shadow, kill Gurmag Angler, kill Taziger, kill Goblin Guy, kill Eidolon? We can test it. I mean, this is our time to test cards. We can get a little cutesy here and there. This is our time. This is it. You know, this is our moment. So they say, like, this is our time to test these things. I think Burial can stay in the board with the Gideon and the Elspeth. We do have some main board graveyard hate in the form of the Tutorable Bog. We can tutor for the Colonnade, Didlin, is the other reason. I mean, we could add a second Colonnade. The most number of Colonnade I would run is maybe 2. We could justify a second Colonnade. Combat Clause, though, is bad for a Death Ray matchup, though. I mean, I'm just saying I don't think we were supposed to win that Burn matchup that we just played. I guess against Burn, you name Eidolon on Ruined Halo, don't you? Because it's just such a house against us. So many cards we have, say, target attacking creature, they probably won't send in an Eidolon. I know, but we have, like, Gideons and Ruined Halos. Those are all things that... Like, I swapped out my core Firewalkers for Halos. Not that that's the one to swap. Like, they're not. We can use this as some forms of combo. You can name, like, Grape Shot. You can name Balakut. I'm good, Lauren. You went 2-1? Nice. What were you playing, Esper? What were you playing? What about Declaration of Naught? Oh, Declaration is that weird enchantment, isn't it, blue? I still feel like Ruined Halo is a little better because we can use it in creature matchups too. You can just name Death Shadow. So I feel like it's the more flexible of the two? I mean, you can't name Ad Nauseam on this. You have to name Lightning Storm and hope they can't kill you with Labman. So, like, that's an exception. This won't help us against Ad Nauseam, where this would. You could just name Ad Nauseam. Declaration's terrible. I think Ruined Halo's more of an option. Even that, I'm worried about. Managed to cast Dragonlord. So somebody said put the explosives in the sideboard. I think that might be actually reasonable. I mean, I like the fact that this is tutorable and this is kind of a catch-all, but we're only 2-color. We're really not embracing a 3rd color splash, so maybe we should only be bringing this in when we're like, okay, they have CMC1 and CMC2 things. So that gives me room for a main board Spell Snare. I mean, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find room for the 4th Astrotold, because we just added the 2nd Restore Bounce, is what I'm trying to do to the deck. I'm trying to get the 4th Astrotold. It is our build-around card. It is. Foretold is our build-around card. It's what lets us get away with returning lands. Like, as a blue-red red control deck, that's unheard of. Like, you really just, like, you're usually building up to, like, a big cryptic command. You're usually trying to, like, I must make my land drops. Like, this deck's a little different. We're like, okay, let's get to our 4th land drop, and then maybe we're going to start, like, bouncing some lands. So we're a little different. You'll be happy with some snares in the main. Yeah, maybe we'll even run a 2nd. Let's continue to run the Condemn. I like these cast-outs, but... I mean, the Surge is pretty darn specific, isn't it? I mean, I like it in concept. I think I might certainly be down to test it, but do you want double packed in the main, or do you want to go ahead and side one? 9 Randon says, why on 2 cast outs? I was on 1, and then I really liked it, so I added a second one. I like when it's not relevant in the matchup, you just cycle it, and it cycles very efficiently. This cycles very more efficiently than a lot of, like, you look at like Azorius Charm, or you look at like, well, Think Twice is in the deck for a different reason. That's actually a form of pseudo eventual card advantage. It's really slow though. I mean, you look at like Shadow of Doubt. You look at like some of these other like incidental like draws, or even like the card like the exception because Romania getting an effect out of as you cantrip. Cast out's really nice because it's just single white draw against everything that you don't want to actually exile something against. Sage says you run 3 and you're very rarely disappointed. Okay. Okay, well, how about this? I'll cut this because we're still testing it. We'll sideboard this. We'll cut the Surge because that's probably the most specific card in our sideboard, and I'll go ahead and add another Spell Snare. Add more. This may be blasphemous. What if you cut your path for 4th Astrotold? That is blasphemous. You speak blasphemy. Alright, which serious question? I haven't played the deck long enough, Sage Phoenix. You know what's funny is you just joined my stream when I was convinced. If you could rewind a week in time, I was jamming a really awesome, albeit probably worse than this. I was playing go ahead and print screen. I was playing a Jace Vryn's Prodigy version of Astrotold. It was a Goryo's Vengeance Astrotold with Obsidats and Djinns, and I think at one point we were testing Grizzlebrands. So I've gone a lot of different directions with Astrotold over the past few months. Like I tested, when it first came out, I tested a Blood Moon deck, I tested a Jeskai Control deck with Astrotold. I even hardcast Emrakul in that deck. we were Jeskai Control. What else did we test? We tested Reanimator. It was like Living End, Jin Gitaxis, Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, Astrotold. That was a cool deck. That was Esper Control. You were there? You were there for that? Oh, okay, Sage. You've really become vocal in chat since recently. Did we ever test Bug Vengeance? No. Actually, it wasn't Bug Vengeance. It was Bug Restore Balance, and it was going to run this card. It was going to run Dark Heart. It was going to be Bug Heart actually to pull off the Astrotold, and our whole mana base was going to be forests. God, that was going to be expensive for us to play. It'd be like a whole bunch of breeding pools and watery graves. Did I ever try taking turns, says Treebeard? I think actually taking turns Astrotold would be super sweet, but no, I didn't. You were here for all that? I don't know, Sage. Was I just not paying attention to you till recently this week? I apologize if that was the case. Alright, went to a big local modern tourney, crushed a blue-white Nahiri with Dredge. They would have been blue-white red Nahiri, but I hear you, Jared. That's cool. Nice. I didn't even know that card was a thing. Yeah, like, this is like, we were looking for ways to, like, okay, so let me show you what we were talking about. We found basically the 4 to 5-ish cards in the meta, or not in the meta, they're not meta cards, none of them are. And we were like, okay, which of these cards is a suitable host, is a suitable combo for Restore Balance? Because, you know me, I'm going to try to do something similar. Like, when I had a deep run at GP Charlotte, it's because I was doing Brain in a Jar plus Boom Bust. And I was consistently doing it to my Tron opponents, I was consistently doing it to virtually any deck in the format that really needed their land drops to happen. So we kind of, the other day on the stream, and you may have been here for this, Sage, is that we were like, okay, which of these engines is worthy of Restore Balance? Which one? All of these really just kind of fell short. Like, okay, Gargadon is like, sure, it's a threat, but it really takes a long time to hit the table. This is resilient to both Dismember and Fatal Push. But I think Gargadon is maybe the other ideal engine for this, because both Darkheart and Claws felt really bad. Now, Darkheart doesn't have a mana cost associated with it. So here's the thing, is like Darkheart and Gargadon are in the category of these are both engines for turning on the Restore Balance, Geddon, that don't require any mana. These both do. You never saw the Darkheart list? Yeah, it'd be spicy, but it'd be expensive to play at the tournament. Your entire mana base would be forests. So I don't even know if it could be a Cryptic Command deck. You know, it'd probably be more like Sultai Good Stuffs, actually, that just happens to have restore balance. That's probably what it would be, like a Sultai Good Stuffs with like a reset the board kind of thing, and then you have like a Planeswalker on the table or something. Or you continue to play Magic thanks to As Foretold. And you know what? That might be the strongest one. That's a proactive As Foretold. That's going to probably have Tarmogoyf. It might have Grimflayer, you know? What's up, Dev? When did we... Okay, let me read what else you said. Why did we end up cutting Jace? You still feel like it's good? Jace dies to removal, and we don't have that many threats, and that was the issue. He just kept dying. Like, if we were to play him here, he'd probably just die a lot. I think he was fine in the deck that was built around him. Like, with the playset of Goryo's Vengeance and the playset of Jace, I think we were flipping Jaces eventually. Like, the first few Jaces died. They did. The first, probably your first or second Jace, unless you're up against a deck that doesn't have much removal, dies. It's usually the... If you're lucky, it's the second Jace, maybe the third Jace that actually flips. So basically, we're casting big, cheap dudes, then for toward balance. Not exactly Sage Phoenix. No, I mean, we'd play like a Sultai game, and then we balance, and then we win. 2 CMC is reasonable. From Master Told, the other options don't fit as naturally. Yeah. Well, the cool thing about Claws of Gix, I will say, versus Trade Routes, because this is kind of like fulfilling a similar role, although I like that Trade Routes puts it back into our hand. This, we were like losing them all. We were just like sacrificing them. I think that this one has really nice grind potential. Out of all the engines that we found, this is Modern Playable, by the way. It was reprinted, I think, in 8th edition. Trade Routes. If I did borrow, then that's probably what they would give me as this version. So I probably need to pick up my own if I want to play like Black Border ones. I prefer Black Border myself, but anyway. So I think this was the best engine we found for pulling this off. And sure, it doesn't work against the permissive decks of the format, but I don't think the permissive decks of the format, I think the exception is, well, other control, although we can grind them out with our Ancestrals. I guess the exception being other control decks and maybe Grixis Shadow. I think that the Trade Routes is a fine engine for pulling off a balanced Geddon. Heart of Wood. These are other engines we considered, Marduk. I mean, I think that we're happy with Trade Routes as the engine. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make it Geddon, is what I'm trying to do. I've seen other people play Blue-White As Foretold already, and what they've tried to do is they've tried to just use the As Foretold as a tutorable hard sweeper, because it's sacrificed, so you can even kill like a Bogle's board state. It also beats Regenerate, so against all the elves with the Aziri, it's also like that for, and that's like an argument for saying, well, do you really even need Burial? Yes, I don't know if we do. That's a true statement, because Restore Balance is sacrifice. It's going to get around some of those effects. It'll get around some of the it'll get around Totem Armor from Bogles, like I was saying. It'll get around Aziri's Regenerate Claws. I mean, if people are playing Thrun, which isn't really a thing right now, it gets around Thrun. So we talked about building balance As Foretold with Garg as an engine, with Heart of the Wood as an engine, with Claws. I think the one that's really been really awesome is Trade Routes, and yes, this card wants us to run some kind of somewhat weird tap lands here and there. Like, it wants a Colonnade. It does. This deck does want something like Colonnade. It does want a Bojuka Bog. It does want like some of these weird tap lands, or utility lands like Radiant. It does, because we want to be able to get some value out of bouncing lands, besides doing the Geddon. Burial is nice versus Dredge. What? Oh, Hallowed Burial? Yes. Yes, Hallowed Burial is good against the Kitchen Finks decks, and it's good against Dredge, yes, and that's why I have one. I just don't know if I can justify it in the main board. But yeah, these were all considerations. They were. I tried to make decks around all three of those things. Claws of Gix is sweet because it's tutorable. And here's something, Stream. I have considered a split in this deck. I have. Already. I've considered a split. Why? Because this is tutorable. But I still think, Trigger says, if Trade Routes is my card, do I really still need Crucible? That's a good point. I think it's because of the Ghost Quarter, but I mean, maybe that's greedy, and that's really slow. And that's a good point, Treebeard. That's a good point. Wouldn't Terminus be better than Burial? Yes and no, Didlin. Terminus is better for the nut draw moments, but Hallowed Burial is better for Snapcaster synergy. Hallowed Burial is better for if you've just drawn it. Terminus having that extra mana cost if you have to hardcast it is very, very relevant. It is. Is this the Naruto song? We're listening to Milky Chance. Knight says, why don't you run Knight of the Reliquary? Sage says, careful. Says, no, it's fine. The entire deck's slow. Slow plans are fine. The song before. It may have been a Naruto song. I don't know. I wasn't really listening. I've listened to my own playlist a lot that sometimes I'm not even really paying attention to what's playing unless it's something I really like. Yeah, I mean, I think the Crucible's fine. I think the neat thing, once you have... Here, let me show you a little synergy that you guys might not have noticed. But yeah, I have been considering a Claws. Let me show you something. But I think Claws is just not very impactful, and I think that was the issue with, like, Gargadon. Like, here's the thing. Let me show you something, Stream. Seriously, let me tell you why I think it is the trade routes. Because the thing that Claws, Garg, and also Dark Heart of the Wood all have in common is what? It doesn't do anything else. It only has to do with the restore balance combo. It's not a grind engine, it doesn't do anything else, right? Dark Heart. And that's my issue with this engine. Using any of these three engines is for the restore balance synergy is that versus trade routes is that it doesn't do anything else. Like this just gains life. Okay, that's good. It's gaining us 3. It's good. Like we would gain a butt ton of life and then wipe all their lands. That's awesome. I think Dark Heart's maybe the strongest next to trade routes. Gargadon, but this is also very deck specific. You need to have the right colors. Gargadon was okay because it doesn't have a mana cost associated with it. Like these two are strong because they don't have a mana cost associated with them. Dark Heart would destroy burn in a lot of the aggressive decks. Yeah. Actually, it was Full Metal Alchemist's Assassin. It may have been. I think I have the Full Metal Alchemist soundtrack on here. Gargadon is fine though. Yeah, I think they all have their place. I think the ones I'm leaning towards are Dark Heart or trade routes. Playing Bug lets you get aggressive. You could play something like Tireless Tracker. Since we have so few dudes, I feel like Gideon's might be better. What, more Gideons? Oh, you mean just main board Big Gideon? We have. I've played the deck where we have the Big Gideon main board. Because even against like non-fair decks, like if you see like small Gideon early, emblem, and then they somehow remove this, you play Big Gideon, still don't lose the game. Sorry, I dropped some cards. I was flicking around my latest deck. That's what I get. Gideon's over guards. Well, I like Gideon of the Trials because it's actually really flexible. Like you can plus on a even like a Valakut. You can plus on Eidolon. Like I think Gideon Jura is like really good when we know that they're a creature-based deck. Gargadon's so much better with balance though. It is, but we're not red though. That's a different deck. Okay, so let me make the argument here, Stream. Outside of this combo, which is the better card? That's the thing I want you to answer for me, Stream, and it's not an easy answer. I want you guys to, and you're not gonna have the same opinion as me. And remember, Claws of Gix is tutorable, so that's an advantage. You can find it with Solari West. Claws plus Balance plus Astrotold can be pieced together, mostly through the Solari West. That's another plus to Claws. But I think it's not impactful enough. I think Gargadon's not impactful enough, even though it's a threat eventually. Even though Dark Heart gains you a butt ton of life, I still don't think it's impactful enough. I think Trade Routes is the one because it's the most flexible. It gives us some synergy for our lands. Yes, it can pull off the balance combo, but more than that, it's a grind engine. This basically says for the rest of the game, if I draw a land, it's not a big deal. I can cycle it. This says for the rest of the game, I can get value off of life gain lands, I can get value off of Bog multiple times, I can get value off of the Scry, I can have a Colonnade that will never be killed. Even if they have Ghost Quarters and Paths and Dismembers, and we've had this Colonnade go through hell and high water. Like, we've had games where this Colonnade just never died, because we had trade routes. Alright, and grindy, longer, control-ier routes wins. Against the aggressive faster decks, Dark Heart wins. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's what I have to realize, Sage Phoenix, is that although trade routes on paper is the more flexible engine, Dark Heart is probably the answer for what the meta is right now. Yeah. I think I'm going to continue to jam the Trade Routes version, but I think I should also on the side, I'll spend some time brewing a Dark Heart Sultai As Foretold balance. Could I board into the Dark Heart shell? I don't think so. It'd be a totally different deck. Like, the entire mana base would need to be forests, or nearly all forests, to really benefit from this card. How do we brew it real quick? I know that's something that you guys have really wanted to see from me. God, it's 4 in the morning. Actually, you know what? We'll save that for another stream. Come back. I gotta go to bed, guys. I gotta get up early. I gotta get up at 9, and I'm only gonna get 5 hours of sleep now. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys helping me through it. Like, I think that because of what the metagame is, I think you're right. I think I do need to consider, like, a Sultai balance build. What about Halimar Depths? We swapped the Halimar Depths out for Temples. Our mana was awkward. Yeah. Start with 3 breeding pools? Probably. Totally missed today. Tree breeding, go back and watch it. It's all good. That's not true with Darkheart. 2 Overgrown Tombs. Alright. You know what? Here, I'll screenshot this. Hang on. I'm gonna put another timer on. You guys get. Let's brew this in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and then I'm going to bed. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so let's open a fresh one. Alright, so this is going to be Sultai Foretold. Or something of the sort. I think we started brewing this, but we didn't finish it. Would it be like a Lily deck? I have no idea. What would it actually be? You're saying that my PC time isn't right. Oh, okay. Right, that's why I said I'll give us a little more time to brew. Alright, so Dark Heart. How many Dark Hearts? Just 2? Like, that's how many Trade Routes we were running. Is it 2? Because they don't stack, so probably... Same with Trade Routes, they don't stack. So probably at most we could get away with is 2. And I know it's our potential builder on card. No, it's not. As Foretold is. Liliana the Veil seems sick. Well, I could maybe borrow some from our sponsors. Well, you're in green, so play some Goyfs. Alright. I wouldn't be able to buy this deck. I'd have to borrow it. I'd have to borrow it online. I'd have to... Yeah. Alright, let's get some Lilies. Which was the cheaper one? This one, I'm assuming. 2 Lilies feels fine. Okay. Maybe most would be 3. Are we going to be a Snapcast deck? Or are we going to be a Jace deck? What are we going to be? Surely we're an Ancestral deck. Somebody suggested a playset of Goofy Goyfs. Sure. Fatal Pushes? Yeah. Fatal Push. Life from the Loam says Skygas. Bob is bad at control. No, I want Tarmogoyf, and I want maybe the Delirium threat. Bob will be good if we have Life Gain, though. I still would rather have the Delirium threat. Like, we've got Enchantment, we've got Sorcery, Instant, Planeswalker. I think we could pull off Grim Flayer. I'm actually more... No offense to Bob, I played Bob for years. I'm more of a Grim Flayer kind of guy these days. Like, the fact that we're green-black, I feel like I like Flayers. Since we have dudes, maybe play Lily. Lost Hope. Flayers the nuts. Yeah, let's play like 3 Flayers, maybe 4. Abrupt Decays? Absolutely, I want some Decay. And Maelstrom Pulse. You like that Flayer fixes us? Some Pulses. Let's go ahead and add the 4th Flayer until we're sure. It might just be 3 Flayers. Let's go on Yuka. Frog Monster seems so bad. Any Thoughtseize? Yeah, we'll have Thoughtseize. We'll have Inquisitions. And Thoughtseize, I think. Are we going to be a Snapcaster Mage deck? Or are we going to be a Jace deck? Thoughtseize do we have? Access to. We have 3. What about Traverse? Traverse Foretold actually doesn't make sense to me. To be honest. Are we going to do Restore Balance plus Dark Heart? Yep, you just came in time for it. There's going to be 1 to 2 balances in this list. about denials? I don't know about denial because we're not going to consistently have big flares. What about a Tazagir or two? Okay. I do have 2 Tazagirs thanks to one biologist. He gave us one. Yeah, I've got about that much time left to brew. Let's go! Alright, so somebody said 3 breeding pools. I think it was you, Sage Phoenix. 3 breeding pool and 2 watery grave. Maybe just 1 overgrown because it doesn't... Actually, no. Only 1 watery grave. It's the one that doesn't synergize with Dark Heart. So 2 overgrowns. Maybe 1 watery, maybe not. Definitely at least basic forest. I mean, should we not run the watery because it doesn't synergize with our combo? But maybe a grave. Well, I was saying that our mana base should be almost exclusively forest. I mean, we could have like a rando dried arbor. Like, I mean, I think we do really want to make sure our mana base sticks to that. It's pretty strict mana base. Run a dried arbor? Yeah. I'm just trying to see what green fetches I have. Is that all I have for green fetches? Do I have Misties? I need to get Misties for this deck. Yeah, that's all I got. We need Misty Rainforest. Ooh, I do have an arbor. Is this a forest? That's cool. This is terrible, but it is a forest. Alright, these are the wrong fetches for us. So you probably need to find the 4th bird, and you want to get the Misties. I mean, this is a green permanent. We could have 2 green permanents. We get to run Bog again? Absolutely, we're going to run Bogs. We might even run 2. We might even run 2 Bogs in this. Alright, Misties. We'll get our hands on some Misty Rainforests. I don't know if we're going to run the full suite, but... 4 push is too many? Okay. Is this going to be a Visions or a Thought Scour deck? Well, if we run all these threats, I think that it will be. Little Jace and run some Lilies. Well, Jace brings Prodigy. Jace has some interesting synergy with Astrotold and Ancestral. What about Kiora? Don't forget some Talarias. Yeah. Kiora seems good. The most I would test is 3. I mean, I'm excited just the fact that it's a, which Kiora? Master of the Depths or Crashing Wave? Kiora's spicy. She doesn't see enough play. Master of the Depths. This one doesn't actually stop anything. It's Crashing Wave, isn't it? It's Crashing Wave, right? Master of the Depths doesn't... Oh, this one puts the rest in the graveyard, that's true. She doesn't protect herself very well. This one worries me because she doesn't protect herself. Test that. That might be fun. Alright. Tribal? We're going to try to sneak some tribal in here? Probably not. Only issue with Crashing Wave is she dies to Bolt. There's not as much Bolt, though. Bolt's on the low right now. Master doesn't. Yeah, but for Modern, like, honestly, Bolt's been on the low. We've been seeing a lot less Bolt than we have in a long time. but Master gets his card advantage. Kiora can draw his cards. How about a Wheel of Fate, says Treebird? We've tried Wheel of Fate, and honestly, I think Wheel of Fate's really only good if you're like a combo version of As Foretold. If you're trying to be like a grindy version with the Ancestrals, I don't think it's good enough. Unfortunately, Treebeard. I hate to say it. It's just kind of what I've come to terms with. If I discard 3 push, 2 decays, some sweepers, do we really need more removal? Probably not. We need more lands. Run a Skoos? Yeah, Scavenging Ooze, absolutely. Yeah, there should be oozes. I think I'm going to get off the Jace Verd's Prodigy engine. Ugh, it's hard to say. Mostly, it's the same. Now, this one's not going to run all that many weird lands, to be honest. I'd really like Engineered Explosives in this, though. This definitely screams to me that this one's an Engineered Explosives dex. It's 3 colors, easily. This is definitely an EE deck. Do we want a Tutorable? I know we don't have the Gideon in this one, but do we still want a Pact the Negation? This one could even run like a sideboard Slaughter Pact. Like, there's some cool things we could tutor for with it, like a Tormod's Crypt out of the board. I don't know if I'd main the Pact, but... or even the Explosives, we'll see. You can get like a Tormod's Crypt, you can get like Slaughter Pact in this one. You need like a Waste Knot shell. Yeah, Treebird, I would need Waste Knot before I consider Wheel, probably. Pact won't work with Foretold. What are you talking about, Yuka? I'm referring to my Talaria Wests. Yuka says Pact doesn't work with... I know that. I know we still have to pay for it, but there's some matchups where you just need a tutorable hard counter so you don't lose the game. If we're going to be running 2 to 3 Talaria Wests, I want to have a tutorable counter spell. I want to have a tutorable removal spell, or mass removal spell, or, you know, graveyard shenanigans. Like, I want these things. Speaking of which, do we want like a Creeping Tar Pit? Remember, these Bajukas and these Talarias don't work with Darkheart. So every land that we add that's not a forest is a liability. Remember that. This is going to be a tournament play as well. Remember, these are a liability. Yes, on the Tar Pit, says Patches. Yuka says, but Negation's a very bad card unless you have a really good reason to run it. We have 3 Talaria Wests. Do you want another reason? Tar Pit seems nice. See, I'm worried about adding too many of these, like, non-forests, though. Because we would leave our opponent with some mana. That's just my thought. That's just my first inclination. Like, if we're trying to do this specifically, we need some basic forest. And we may still need, I mean, like, I still think we should run a basic of each type, but have an emphasis on forest. We're gonna cut this, that's cute. I was like, oh, that's sweet. No. It's probably still just 1 forest, though. Maybe 2. I guess second forest so we could fetch it up to sack it to the Darkheart. Maybe. Ooh, Collective Brutality. I think the Jaces are cute, but that's just me. Like, I don't think I would be on the Jace plan, but maybe we should be. Alright, and then 1 island at least, and at least 1 swamp, if not more. Sage says, will you ever need a 0-mana counterspell? Lets you not die, though, when you would otherwise die. Yeah, I think just a one of. Yuka, you're not wrong. Like, I think that this deck is the deck that really benefits from tutorable packs. Like, the fact that we're running 2 should tell you that. I'm running 2 Gideons, so there's some synergy here. These are tutorable. These guys are great when paired with them. I still think Pact the Negation should be a consideration, at least a one of in this deck as well. Give me a swamp. I think this is a cool concept, though. I think this actually might be the stronger Restore Balance deck, to be honest. This seems really nice synergy, like gain a whole bunch of life when we go for it, or just incremental life as the game goes. We're basically Sultai Delver Legacy style, like Sultai... Oh, what, is this like our Shardless agent for the Ancestrals? Yeah, I can see that. What about some Delvers? Life of the Loam says Time Lord. You're really pushing for Loam. Guess Loam gets back Talaria. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. Instead of Crucible, use like some number of life from the Loam. It also lets us dredge to like grow our Goyfs and our Flayers. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think Loam is a good idea. Maybe 2 copies. I think Loam is a reasonable thought. Turns our lands into healing salve. You like Loam plus Dark Art? Yeah. This actually, like, in a lot of ways, and it scares me to look at this deck and then say to myself, you know what, this is probably the stronger Esther's Hold deck. Because you know what, in Modern, it's really, it is really hard. It is very difficult to be, oh, we should run some, maybe Dismembers. It's really difficult in Modern to be, what? To be Control. It is. It is hard to be Control. It's usually better to be proactive. It just is. So I'm fine biting that bullet and realizing, oh, okay, well, as much as I'd like to build a control deck with the Restore Balance as foretold, this might just be the better deck. Sage says run some sweepers. Damnation. Alright, brew time is up. But let me just go ahead, and since we had Damnation on the mind. Zenith Damnation. Yeah, Damnations. I'd run maybe a couple, 1 to 2 Damnation. Tendrils out of the board for like Kitchen Finks decks / elves. Like, oh, Flame Tendrils, excuse me. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 Tendrils. Nile Spellbomb. We'll come back to this and I'll cut a lot of cards and we'll maybe put together a shell. Is Zenith worth a consideration? Yeah. 26 sideboard. It's perfect. It's perfect. What is it? Destroy all artifacts? I think we're actually a Nature's Claim deck, and here's why. We have some artifacts and enchantments that in multiples don't really do much. Like, if we draw the second Dark card, I could totally see us Nature's Claiming our own Dark card against, like, Affinity. So how about a claim? Nope. So maybe, like, 2 to 3 of this. What about some Surgicals? We're not a Snapcaster deck, but maybe. I think balance is better than y'all think here, Sage. I'll let you make that argument. I'm done making arguments for one night. You can make that argument if you want to. I mean, maybe even Fracturing Gust might be where we want to be. Maybe we want the ramp that like a Noble Hierarch gives us. No, actually, you don't really want to. We want to commit our threats probably after the balance. I don't know. It's hard to say. Fair warning on Tazzy and Fishy, they're hard to remove. Oh yeah, I mean, like, the issue though is we would need to be like a Thought Scour deck, so we'd have to cut a lot of things, and then before these things, that's my only thought. This would probably need to be a Thought Scour deck. Well, if you want to be better against those things, then you need to run more Dismembers. Yeah, that's a fair warning. I hear you. I hear you. There's only 22 lands. Is that low? Probably should be on 23. Irish says, the old Talaria West. Hey, how's it going, Irish? The old this dot deck. The old Restore Balance Sultai deck. The old Restore Balance deck. I'm going to bed, guys, though. It's been fun. We've gone over time on our brew time. Just trying to see something. What about Ghost Quarter? And I don't think that would be in this deck, Sage, but I mean, maybe we can sneak in a Ghost Quarter or two. I wouldn't be using. I don't think I'd use. I think I'd use Life from Loam instead of Crucible in this deck. I mean, you could justify maybe 1 or 2 quarters. quarters. At least quarters, like here's what's cool about quarter is we could quarter ourselves if we accidentally like have a let's say we have the Bajuka Bog or one of the Talaria Wests to still pull off the Dark Heart Restore Balance as we're told Wombo nonsense. We could do that. Ghost Quarter is further upside. They'll let you wipe out our own lands for force, yeah. As he's saying it, yeah. It clicked in my mind. It did. It did click. So this is maybe the better deck if we can like bring it to a more concise place. Yeah, this is probably the better deck. Just need to cut some things. This very well could be the better deck. It's just a matter of figuring out what we want. Yeah, it is not a Sultry Trail. What's the combo? Dark Heart of the Wood plus Restore Balance. We were testing extensively Trade Routes plus Restore Balance, but now we're exploring some of the other colors, like Gargadon is a possibility, Dark Heart is a possibility, Claws of Gigs is a possibility, but I think that's the weakest of the three, although it is tunable. Transmutable, I should say. It's a Knight of Souls Betrayal, right? Sage says this deck feels grindy, resilient, and combo-ish. There you go, there it is. I do have a Knight of Souls Betrayal. Okay. I think the surgicals are maybe unnecessary. Famous last words. I think we've got that covered. Close this crypt. Yeah, I mean, this might be the better deck, Sage. I hate to admit it, but it might just be the better one, because although it has all the same Wombo combo nonsense that this deck has the capability of doing, with the, although that's not the latest version, but, some kind of graveyard hate is necessary. Yeah, I mean, our last card could be graveyard hate, more graveyard hate. Maybe another Spellbomb. I think 2 Spellbombs actually was fine. Oops. Like, cause Ooze is like a grindy form of graveyard hate, and although I'm considering multiple Oozes, like, what about that? What about this? I mean, we should maybe consider the first Creeping Tar Pit. And we'll cut either a Verdant or a Misty, I suppose. Which do you cut? Do you cut Verdant or do you cut Misty? Let me just analyze our mana real quick. We look to be a little bit more blue-black, actually, than... And green... There's a lot of green in here, though. I guess we want to be able to fetch up the, Yeah, I need turn 1 black more often than I'll need turn 1 blue. Let's actually cut a Misty. That'll make this cheaper to get into anyways for me. Right now it's a little rough. Is this a 24 land deck or is this a 23 land deck? Maybe some Thrun? 3 breedings gotta be overkill, is this trash? It might be. You think so? Think 3 breeding pools overkill? What about that? 2 breeding, 2 overgrown, 2 forests. I think we can work with that. Breeding pool. Sage says actually breeding pool over the second basic forest is better. Yeah, maybe we don't need... I mean, there's really not much in the deck that would require double basic forest. I was just thinking about Dark Heart. We have less blue than we expected. Yes, we do. Trigger says, what about Grixis Shadow? We could get stuck versus a Shadow with some pushes. I guess you don't need the basic forest. I just want to make sure that we, yeah. Well, this is just a brain baby. It's not a brain baby. It's just a brain baby. There's nothing set in stone. We just started really trying to make this thing work just now. Phoenix says we're fine. We have more than just 5 answers for Shadow. 1, 2. Are you talking about early Shadow? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Treebeard says you're just saying feels like I feel like we'd have to play it first. I mean, we thought that this other deck had a weak Shadow match, and then we've only lost to Shadow once. I've beaten Shadow yeah, it is Brain Baby Irish. We actually, I don't think that it's a good match, but we were beating Shadow left and right. So I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like since we're not going to run Thought Scour, I'm less excited about Taskers and Gurmags. I mean, I think the most we could run is maybe both. They have a bit of an anti-synergy. Remember, Goyf plus Flare at the same time as Goyf and I mean, they're going to have a little bit of anti-synergy. It's not that you can't run them at the same time. You can. You just need to be aware of the anti-synergy. Alright, Shadow Encounters Company are the top threats right now. Well, then we need, like, Paths or, like, okay, then you want Grafdigger's Cages. If you want to be better against that matchup. Instead of Spell Bombs, you want Cages. And that was something we almost did with the blue-white control. Cage over something like this. Alright, Dylan says nearly everything feels like it has a weak Shadow match, then you realize most people aren't great Shadow opponents. Is it just to meme people, says Mongoose? We meme people all the time on this channel. Alright, I'm done. We're going to bed. It was a fun little brew sesh. We took a little bit more than 15 minutes, which is what I worried about. But yeah, I can before next stream, maybe I'll try to get these cards and we can play around with it. This might be the better Restore Balance deck than what we've been jamming for the last week. When we tried to jam a Living End Restore Balance deck, we tried to jam a Blood Moon Restore Balance deck with Astrotold. I mean, they're all built around Astrotold. Astrotold's the only constant the last few months on this stream. I've just been really trying to figure out how to break it, how to do it. I'll get there before Vegas. I'm pretty confident that I will. We've got a couple weeks to do it. So if it is the Sultai deck, I think the reason it would be the Sultai deck is because this is the most proactive version of Astrotold besides the Reanimator combo that we built. This is just the most proactive, you know. See, 4 Goy, 4 Flare, some Planeswalkers. That seems like more than enough, and a Manland to boot. Are you sure you're going to Vegas? I am, Patches. We're only $200 away. I think usually what happens with this, Patches, not that I'm saying that it happened with GP Charlotte, for example. It might happen. My hope is that it happens again. We had a lot of generous donations in the last couple weeks before Vegas. So As Told is a proactive card, to be fair. Yeah, it is. Awesome, good luck. If I could spare the money, I would. Well, thank you. I mean, I think we tested a lot of different spectrums. We saw that this has synergy with Blood Moon because this can play Magic for you. So we were testing this with Blood Moon. We've tested it with Living End because it has synergy there. We've tested it with Balance. We've tested it with Blue Eye Control, and now we're testing it maybe with Sultai. Exactly, and I think Modern's too fast to sit back. Yeah, and this deck might be the one. I hate to say it, but this might be the one. I shouldn't hate to say it. Like, we should let the deck evolve naturally, and we've tried all the other build-around cards to pull this off. The one we haven't tested is Darkheart. It's the only one I haven't tested yet. I mean, it's basically the Zern Orb of Modern, right? Too bad this isn't Modern Legal. If this is Modern Legal, we would have already had a deck built. Done. That's your deck. Like, easy peasy. Why isn't this just Modern Legal? It's not even that good. Say says, just keep hacking away at Astrotold, we'll break it. Yeah, I hope so. Before Vegas, preferably. I mean, this is kind of my last ditch idea, honestly. Sultai Foretold. Time Lord says play Taziger. I'm just so worried about Taziger with trying to turn Delirium on for our flares and trying to turn our Goyfs on. I'm just worried. I am. Maybe we should mainboard a Nile Spellbomb so we have Artifact occasionally. That's a thought. Delirium kind of wants to be a little bit more built around. But I don't necessarily want just like Mishra's Bauble. They're also like $1 million on Magic Online. Price. Mishra's Bauble. Oh, you're fine, Time Lord. For the record though, Tazi's like an insane threat right now. It's like 25. For the record, you're right. Taziger is good. Maybe we should still consider the Taz and the Gurmag. I'll just put them in and we'll try to figure out where we want to go with it. I'm just so worried about... I may not be able to get any Lilies for us, by the way, stream. We may have to test this initially Lilyless. I don't know if I have enough money for us to test them. Or the Goyfs, for that matter. So, this one may not happen for a few days. Go to bed? Yeah, I gotta go to bed. I'm gonna get in so much trouble tomorrow. I have stuff going on in the morning. Oh god, it's almost 4 in the morning. Alright guys, see you on the next stream. I'm gonna put closing time on. Usually that helps me get my mind in order for closing. We just put closing time on. Go ahead and see who we're gonna host. It just gets me in the mood to close, you know. Thanks for coming, guys. It's been fun. Guys and girls, hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Really looking forward to Vegas. I do have pretty extensive plans because since we've had some really nice, generous people sending us. I've been, okay, so like Holy Dive is streaming Modern. Let's see. Oh, somebody's playing Pauper. Somebody's practicing Legacy. Ooh. This Legacy deck looks sweet. He's playing Aggro Loam. Probably host this guy. Yeah, Sage. We'll figure it out. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Yeah, we're kind of splash blue, aren't we? We're like literally just like... Yeah, come to think of it, when I look at the deck, it's like we're blue just for Astrotold, Ancestral, and maybe Pact. Maybe we should run like a Dispel or two. It's like, what are we really blue for besides Tar Pit, West? I think the blue on West will be difficult, actually. That's something I worry about already with this deck. I think the blue transmutation on Talaria is going to be a liability. Ancestral doesn't count? Yeah. Well, no, we will have to suspend it from time to time, but yes, you're correct. I mean, it's faster if you just cast it through the Astrotold. It is. It's just, that's the synergy. That if you really want to know what these decks have all been built around, it's this 8. This really is what makes the deck work. This is what really makes the deck tick. This is usually either a 7 or an 8. Like, this is what makes these decks tick, really, is this right here. This is what makes it work. Too many Talarius. Oh, whoa! Sage Phoenix with the 100 bits! Thank you so much. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the $1. Essentially, thank you so much. Send it at least for now. Sage Phoenix, thank you so much for the cheer. Now you have the little badge next to your name, so now everybody will be jealous of your badge. Take me home. I was excited about affiliate this month. We've achieved a lot in the last month, and I haven't really even stopped to think about it. We've achieved a lot. Alright, so we'll see how Sultai Foretold works out. In the meantime, Gideon Foretold is where I'm at. Gideon Foretold is where I'm at. This is what I'm thinking. For now. For now, this is the hotness. Sultai just happens to be the new hotness. We're curving this week. No, we were curving them right. These are here. This is here. Did I see Bantu's Last Reckoning? You deserve something for the content? Oh, thanks, Sage. That's very kind. Thank you, sir. We did cut a cryptic finally, and I think it's the right call. I mean, best case scenario, this happens turn 3. Worst case is turn 5. Snaps are more so here. So we're a little light on 2-drops. We're going to test the Rune Halos. I'll give it a shot. I think I want to give this blue-white deck one more league before I give up on it. And then we'll probably move on to Sultai and give that a shot for a few leagues. And then we'll move on to the next version and see if we can make it work. If it doesn't work, I do have a secret backdrop deck. I'll tell you more about that next stream. That's right, a little spoiler for you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and host this person. Yeah, there is a backup. I do have a backup deck. If I really can't make an Astrotold deck work, I do have a backup deck. I just don't want to. I want to play Astrotold.